Price depreciation. Green tea girlfriend begs for forgiveness. The sun is shining in the sky, the flowers are smiling at me, and the birds say that it is early, and there is no salary if you don't get up again. As always, Leanne's alarm went off, but today's alarm was 2 hours earlier than the alarm during his usual work hours. Because today is a happy and special day for him. Valentine's Day. He took a day off in advance to get up early to prepare a holiday surprise for his girlfriend. Also ready to propose to your girlfriend on this special day. Lee, who was woken up by the alarm clock, picked up his mobile phone and looked at the time, 7 o'clock in the morning. Lian yawned. Due to the pressure of the usual company boss, he still felt weak after sleeping for 8 hours, but when he thought of his girlfriend, he was suddenly energetic. Lian came downstairs to his girlfriend Zhao Xia's house, thinking of giving her a surprise, and opened WeChat to pretend that he was still at home. I sent a message of, "Morning, Xia, are you awake?" and I just got up. Then he went upstairs, the elevator stopped on the 8th floor, he came to Zhao Xia's door, he knocked on the door and quickly hid behind the door. Wait for your girlfriend to open the door and give her a big surprise. The door opened slowly, and Li jumped out excitedly with a surprise that startled the person who opened the door. But Li's excited mood suddenly fell to the bottom. The one who opened the door was a man, and judging from the pajamas he was wearing, Li almost thought that he had gone the wrong way and knocked on the wrong door. Lian stepped back and carefully checked the house number 8-1, there was nothing wrong, it was Zhao Xia's home. And the man who caught his eye was the famous second-generation rich Wang Baoqi in the school at that time. Is also a notoriously stubborn child, and it's not an exaggeration to change his girlfriend every day. But he appeared at his girlfriend's house today, and his mother was wearing pajamas in the morning. Lian's mood was indescribable and chaotic. After a while, Zhao Xia came out of the room lazily, rubbed her eyes, and said, "Brother Bao Shuhu." As for this, Zhao Xia is Li's girlfriend who has been dating from high school to social work for 7 years. Li is handsome in his own right, and he is recognized by the whole school as a schoolgrass and a top student in school. At that time, there were countless beauties chasing him, but he refused. He chose Zhao Xia because she had a pure heart. But after all, 7 years have passed, people's hearts will still change after all, and no one can withstand the temptation of reality. Zhao Xia walked to the door and panicked when she saw Li Yan, but immediately regained her composure. She knew that she couldn't hide it, and it just ended with Li Yan, a poor ghost. Wang Baoqi crossed his hands in front of his chest and rested his head against the wall, as if waiting to see a good show. Who is he? When did you start? Li Yan stared at Zhao Xia with dead eyes and asked, waiting for a satisfactory answer. Obviously, the facts are already in front of him, but after all, it has been 7 years. The sudden storm made Li Yan not know what to say. Then Zhao Xia looked indifferent, and walked to Wang Baoqi's side bewitchingly, holding his elbow with both hands, like a shy little wild cat. Wang Baoqi touched Zhao Xia's delicate little hand, and looked at Li Yan with a provocative look. Zhao Xia didn't say a word, but the behavior of the two had already told Li Yan everything he wanted to know. Li threw the flowers he was holding to the ground violently, and the proposed ring he prepared also fell out. After Li turned to leave, Zhao Xia saw the fallen ring, picked it up and looked at it. I am afraid that there was not even a gram of the diamond on it, looked at the big diamond ring given by Wang Baoqi in her hand, and threw it into the trash can in disgust. Li Yan walked slowly in the streets and alleys. At this time he didn't know what to do and where to go. After a while, the message prompt of the mobile phone remembered that he picked up the phone and saw the message sent by his girlfriend. Li Yan, you already know, then I'll open the skylight and say something. The two of us are not suitable, you can't give me the life I want. Wang Baoqi has an annual salary of 1 million just after graduation, and his big diamond ring is much stronger than the small invisible ring that you have been together for a long time. I'm sorry, you are a good person, you will meet better. After reading the message sent by Zhao Xia, Li Yan turned off his mobile phone and thought to himself, 7 years in exchange for a good person card. In the face of everything that is happening now, in fact, he has long said in his heart that his girlfriend's family has always disagreed, disgusted with his poverty. And Zhao Xia said that she didn't recommend it and was willing to fight with herself, but Li Yan knew that it was just lip service. Although it was expected, Li Yan still found it difficult to accept it in his heart. Recalled that I was very good to Zhao Xia before. What she wants, even if she is tired, she is willing to work hard. Saving herself and not spending money indiscriminately. I just want her to live the life she wants through her own efforts. But in the end, the effort still failed to reality. I don't know how long I walked. Lee felt a little tired, came to a park, saw a clean chair and sat down. When he turned on his phone, as soon as he entered the short video software, he saw a live broadcast page. It turned out that the matter had come to this point, and Li Yan didn't bother to think about those unworthy people and things. Curiously clicked in, there were tens of thousands of people in the live broadcast room, and the atmosphere was also very active. The comment area is full of people who are slapping sycophants at female anchors and people who are slapping sycophants in return. My wife is so good looking, how can I get you? What grade do you have? You still want to get Miss Zinra, and you don't deserve to be despised when you lift shoes. Don't you see that the big brother on the list is here? You are a white prostitute, embarrassed to say such things. Quietly watching the barrage in the live broadcast room, he did not comment. Instead, I clicked on the upper right corner of the live broadcast room, looked at how many coins were given by Bang E, and then clicked on the gift list in the lower right corner. Damn, it's so cheap, is there a bug in the system? He looked at the list of gifts, and the super big rocket, which usually costs more than 1,000 yuan, now only needs 0, ***. 1 UNZ. Romantic castles that usually require more than 2,000 only need 0, ***. 2,888 yuan. Even the most expensive gift carnival usually costs more than 3,000 yuan, but now it is only 0.00000000. 3 UNZ. Li Yan was a little confused, thinking about whether today was a special day, or was God comforting his wounded heart. Usually Li Yan is also a person who likes to watch live broadcasts, but he never brushes gifts, because he wants to save every amount of money he can save, in order to let his girlfriend live the good life he wants. Therefore, the honor level of his short video account is level 0, which is equivalent to a white prostitute in the live broadcast room. The honor level is used to determine whether a person is proud or not, and the highest level is 60. Li Yan saw that the gifts in the gift list were so cheap, and it was more than enough to recharge $1 to watch all the big special effects. Although he was not as excited as buying a lottery ticket and winning the jackpot, he was also extremely happy at this time, which was equivalent to spending a dime a dozen to touch luxury things. So he excitedly picked up his mobile phone and recharged $1. After the recharge arrived, he looked at the gifts on the gift list and clicked wildly, and ordered them for a while. Whoa! In an instant, all kinds of good-looking and expensive special effects were brushed uninterrupted in the live broadcast room. At this time, Su Xinran, who was interacting and chatting with the audience, saw the 3 carnivals that had been brushed and was about to thank him. Halfway through the words, she was dumbfounded, and in the live broadcast room. The originally lively live broadcast room was quiet. All the people who watched the live broadcast were blindsided. After a few seconds of silence, the people diving in the live broadcast room began to come out and launch a barrage. Damn. 666. Level 0 white prostitute monster, suddenly upgraded to level 56, this is the hidden god. Why are you still stunned? I'm sour, I'm so arrogant when I make a move. It seems that he is a real big guy. What I said upstairs is right, when will you stay if you don't kneel and lick your brother? The big brother on the list was also dumbfounded, a white prostitute monster has far surpassed himself by a large margin. The unconvinced list recharged as soon as he picked up the mobile phone, 1 cent, 2 cents, 3 cents, 1 dime, 2 dimes, 2 dimes. I was about to recharge all the savings I earned in a year, and I found that it was still far from enough. And there is no sense of his presence in the live broadcast room, and it seems that the people watching the gifts he is making up now can't see it directly. After all, compared with Li Yi's brush, it was 108,000 miles away, and in the end he gave up recharging and left the live broadcast room silently. Su Xinran's live broadcast room suddenly became the first on the hourly list, far exceeding the second place on the hourly list, with more than 50 million votes. A banner on the screen of the live broadcast room of other anchors, congratulations to Zinra for becoming the first in the regional hour list. At this time, a large number of newcomers suddenly came into the live broadcast room, some of them came through the support of traffic, and some of them came to watch the excitement through the live broadcast rooms of other anchors. All kinds of barrage messages scrolled wildly on the screen. Due to the uninterrupted special effects of the gift, it is almost impossible to see everyone's comments. Huh. And gone. Look, the big guy is gone. Damn, I'll leave when I'm done. No, this big brother is really arrogant. Is this the height I can reach? I'm red-eyed with an annual salary. Let you hug your thighs and you have to be in a daze. Now that the eldest brother is gone, let's cry. How can you talk upstairs? This is a drizzle for us, Sinra. At this time, Sushinran was confused and puzzled on the side. She couldn't believe her eyes. The special effects in the live broadcast room continued to flash non-stop, and it lasted for half an hour before disappearing. When Sushinran came to her senses, Li Yan had been gone for a long time. At this time, an operator in the live broadcast room had already recorded the screen and used the topic to play hype, and sent the video to the short video software. In just a few hours, the number of views has reached hundreds of millions, and the number of likes has reached 80 million likes. In an instant, it made headlines on major websites such as Scarf, Douyin, etc. A mysterious man left quickly after swiping a piece of anger in the live broadcast room. I'll deduct 666 directly. Which family's son-in-law? Is this the world of the rich? I can't understand it, I can't understand it. And Li Yi suddenly received a phone call after brushing the gift, and before he could watch the barrage in the live broadcast room, he quit the live broadcast room early. It was the landlord who rented the house who called him and told him to pay the rent immediately, or he would throw all his things out tonight. Li replied to the landlord and waited for him to go back and settle the bill. The location he was now was not far from where he lived, but he thought about it and took a taxi back. After all, the landlord wanted to come out as soon as he wanted it, and he was afraid that before he could wait for the evening, his things would be thrown out. He stood on the side of the road and waved. A taxi stopped, he got into the car, and gave the driver 10 yuan when he was about to reach his destination. 10. $10. After the driver took the money, his face twitched a few times and swallowed his saliva. He had been running taxis all his life and had never received such large bills. Seeing the driver's reaction, Li Yan asked, "Master, what's wrong? Is there something wrong?" Li Yi was taken aback, and the driver's expression made him think that the money was fake. In these years, can there still be a fake for $10? The driver replied, "Old boss, are you going to buy me for the rest of my life?" "No, for the rest of my life." Li Yan felt confused and a little strange. Isn't it just 10 yuan, is it necessary to do this? Could it be that the driver is joking with himself? Today, he couldn't laugh at a bad accident. Without much thought, the destination arrived, and he was about to get out of the car but was stopped by the driver. "Boss, I can't find your money." Seeing the driver's embarrassed look, Li Yan was thinking, this driver is afraid that he doesn't have any dreams of being an actor. "I don't make jokes like this, it's still addictive." Li Yan smiled awkwardly, then replied, "No need to look for it." And then got out of the car. Then the driver dialed the phone number of his wife at home and said excitedly with tears, "Wife, we got rich, I just met a local tyrant who took my car, paid 10 yuan, and I don't have to look for." The driver, who had finished talking to his wife on the phone, threw the car aside, like a crazy child, jumping and dancing and running into the distance. After Li Yan got out of the car, he glanced back at the driver in confusion and scratched his head. What a mess of people. $10 can't be found. $10 is crazy. This person is not sick, right? Shook his head. Li Yan returned to the rental house, and sure enough, the landlord was already waiting for him at the door of the house. The landlord looked at him viciously. "You owe half a year's rent. I don't think you are easy to be accommodating, and you plan to let me be accommodating for a lifetime." "I'm sorry, I've been busy in the company before. How much in total? I'll give it to you." As he spoke, Li Yan took out some bits and pieces of banknotes from his bag and put them on the table. "I want to see how much is left in the bag. After all, I owe half a year, and I don't know if it's enough." When Li Yan was continuing to grope, the landlord's grandmother saw that the money on the table was 1, 5, 10, and 20. The landlord was shocked all of a sudden, looking at the boss with the money on the table, and felt that his eyes were about to pop out. Then the landlord walked politely towards Li Yan with a smile on his face. This sense of contrast made Li Yan feel a little scared. How? What's wrong? I still have a deposit in my phone, I just want to see how much cash I have. Li Yan hurriedly explained, for fear that the landlord's grandmother would laugh maliciously and think that he couldn't pay the rent, and then eat him raw. Unexpectedly, the landlord helped him to sit on the sofa next to him, and said in a soft tone, "Ouch, young master, it turned out that I came to the humble house to experience life. I said it earlier, look at my usual tone is not good, I have eyes and don't know Mount Tai, don't you mind?" Li felt a little strange, just like the feeling of the driver who came back from the car just now. Did he live a ghost? He felt scared and confused, and asked the landlord how much it was, and he took out everything on his body, whether it was enough. I saw the landlady take $1 from the table and said, "If the eldest young master doesn't suggest it, you can give me $1 is enough, and my house will also belong to you, and I will renovate it for you." Li Yan's face stiffened. "What strange people and things have you encountered today?" The sports car driver went crazy and didn't go to work because of $10. The landlord gave me a sweet because of $1. $1. Li Yan looked at the landlord very seriously and asked again. The landlord thought that Li Yan disliked his house and felt that it was not cost-effective to buy his own house with $1, so he quickly explained. "Although you can buy a good house in the city for $1, but I'm not bad here, I will also give you all the redecoration, you don't lose money." "Wait, a good house in the city is about 10 million yuan for a good house in the city, $1. What about 100 yuan? Asked Li Yan as he looked at the landlord with a funny expression. He thinks that the landlord is making fun of him. The landlord replied very seriously, 100 bills can buy the office building opposite. After saying that, the landlord and grandma left happily. At this time, a system voice sounded. "The host confusion value has been detected to rise, the system has been activated, whether to receive the newbie package. This is system. Pick it up." Li was ecstatic, he didn't expect that the system that only existed in the novel would appear on him. The value of the world has depreciated by 10 million times, and the host deposit has successfully been immune to depreciation. Li said that he was a little confused, but the system disappeared without too much explanation. After a day of running, Li felt a little physically and mentally exhausted, and after washing, he lay on the bed and prepared to rest. Looking at the time, it was already past 10 o'clock in the evening. Toot toot. Li's mobile phone message rang. I picked it up and looked at it. It was a message from a short video software. He clicked in and saw a few private messages from someone in the message list. "Hello, are you there? I'm just bored to start a live broadcast to play. I didn't want to make money from this, thank you for the gift today, it's broken. After brushing so much, as compensation, I invite you to a stewed meal." That's right, this is a private message from Su Xinran. She is the pearl of the chairman of the board of directors of Huaxia Large Enterprise Company. Born with a golden spoon in his mouth. The family's assets can be said to be among the best in the list of the richest people in the world. Engaging in live broadcast is purely boring, broadcasting and playing, and never need to rely on other people's gifts to make money. Su Xinran wants to have good looks, a good figure, and the family is so rich, Bai Fumei feels humble when used on her. Of course, there are many people in the live broadcast room who want to please her and seek a good job for themselves with her huge family relationship. Or her admirers who are so fierce as gifts, just to get her attention. But these are all drizzles for Su Xinran, and she naturally understands what their purpose is. And Li Yong gave her a completely different feeling. This is the first time she has seen someone brush so much for the first time in the live broadcast room, and she didn't say a word, and she flashed after brushing. She also wanted to see which family's son this low-key hero was. For Su Xinran, most of the rich children had seen it at her birthday party last year. So she found Li Yan in the gift list. Seeing the private message sent by Su Xinran, Li Yan replied indifferently, "No need, it's just $1. There's nothing wrong with it, it's a matter of buying a lollipop for $1, because a lollipop makes a girl have a big meal. I'm afraid that this person doesn't know that he is a handsome guy and wants to plot against him." Seeing the news of Li Yan's reply, Su Xinran's heart swished. She has always rejected others, and she has never been rejected by the opposite sex. Sushinran said that her heart was a little broken. Usually men line up to be courteous to themselves, but this time they took the initiative to attack, but they were rejected. Also, it's just $1, which is equivalent to giving a set of urban houses as soon as you come up. This aroused Sushinran's doubts and interest more and more. She must see what kind of sacredness this is. So he picked up his phone and replied again, swiping his fate, make a friend. $1, no, it should be said that making friends in a suite, Sushinran feels a little money worship when she thinks about it. But she is a rich woman herself, and $1 is just pocket money for her. And she is not a money worshipper, she just wants to simply see who this low-key mysterious tyrant is. Seeing that the other party did not reply, Sushinran picked up her phone again and added a few messages. If you don't speak, you agree. Then we'll see you tomorrow at the Info restaurant. Lee was already full of sleep at this time, and when he saw the message sent again, he didn't say too much, and after replying with a he put down his phone and fell asleep. After seeing Li Yan's reply, Sushinran put down her phone with peace of mind, hugged the big bear doll next to her, and the corners of her mouth rose slightly. It was as if I was happy that I had won the long-awaited limited edition designer bag, and I felt a sense of accomplishment. The next morning, Li Yan's wake-up bell rang, and it was only 2 days before he took a leave to work. He opened his eyes, rubbed his eyes with his hands, got up, and looked at the time, 8 o'clock in the morning. Rise up and think about what you should do today. Usually at this time, I should have made breakfast and sent it to my girlfriend. The regular habit made Li Yang feel worthless when he thought of his ex-girlfriend again, and the 7-year relationship could not match the reality after all. Li Yan ate breakfast after washing, and really didn't know what to do. It's better to treat yourself, so I opened my phone and clicked into the game that I hadn't logged in for a long time. Because most of the time in the past, I was either coaxing my girlfriend or accompanying my girlfriend, and my friend didn't have time to call him black. Play games to relax and throw away all the unhappy worries. In this way, Li Yan played the game for a few hours. As soon as he played, completely forgetting that Sushinran said last night that the restaurant would not be gone. It wasn't until the afternoon that Sushinran, a mobile phone short video software, sent a private message again, and Li Yan clicked in before he reacted. He was so sleepy and dazed last night that he didn't know when he would come back with an But I have already agreed, let's go, and I saw Sushinran's, what about you? I've been waiting for you for a long time. Li Yan immediately replied, I'll be there soon. Fortunately, the Ifeir restaurant that Sushinran said was not far from her, and it was only a few minutes away by taxi. Li Yan hurriedly packed up and went out to take a taxi to the Eiffel restaurant. Eiffel Chinese restaurant. Walking into the Ifeir Chinese restaurant, Li Yan looked around for a while. Since Li Yan had only seen Sushinran in the live broadcast, he didn't know the big difference in reality. And Li is a little face-blind, he feels that most of the beauties on the internet look similar, I don't know if they are all the same. Sushinran looks like a rare beauty on camera, but who knows when she looks beautiful. At this time, a waiter saw Li Yan who was looking around, and stepped forward. Hello, is my sir looking for someone or do you need a meal? A uniformed waiter stepped forward and asked. When Li Yan was about to speak in response, a lobby manager stepped forward and scolded the waiter. What the hell are you doing here? Don't you go to greet the VIP in the VIP room, what are you doing here? If you lose this guest, I won't let you eat and walk around. After the manager said viciously to the waiter, he turned his head to look at Li Yan. With a look of disgust, he looked up and down at Li Yan's dress and said. What the hell, we don't recruit cleaners here. Go, go, go. Sushinran waited for a long time and saw that Li Yan had not yet arrived, so she came out of the VIP room and waited. She couldn't wait to see Li Yong, the mysterious local tyrant, and more importantly, she wanted to see how the person who originally wanted to refuse her invitation looked like. After the manager finished speaking, he turned around and was about to leave, when he happened to bump into Sushinran who came out of the private room. The attitude changed in seconds, and Yang Fengyin stepped forward and said. Ouch, my Miss Shinran, why are you still out? It's windy outside, what can you do if it blows for a while? It's a hot June day, and the eyes of the big sun outside can't be opened, and the poisonous ones can be said to be eaten directly by beating an egg on the ground. This sycophant is a bit stupid. Sushinran ignored this sycophant manager. Looking around, she didn't know what Li Yi looked like. At this time, the people in the lobby all set their eyes on Su Xinran. Dressed in an Armani custom lilac slim skirt, a pair of flesh-colored stockings and a pair of exquisite high heels. Modified her already slender jade legs to be more charming and moving. Oh my god, this is Su Xinran, the daughter of Su Dong of Huaxia Company. This face, this figure is too lovely. Look at the stockings she wears on her legs. I've seen them in the official flagship store of the Balijia family, and one costs a whole penny. Oh my god, and the bag she's carrying, look. Gucci limited edition. Limited to 50 pieces worldwide, each priced at 8 dimes. I'm sour, I really want to hug my thighs, but unfortunately I can't reach it, woo woo. In this world of currency depreciation, 1 cent is equivalent to 100,000 soft sister coins, 1 dime is equivalent to 1 million soft sister coins. And 1 piece is equivalent to 10 million soft sister coins, and 100 is 1 billion soft sister coins. Su Xinran looked around for a while, but she didn't know what Li Yiren looked like, and even if she came, she didn't know, so she picked up her mobile phone. Clicked on the short video software and wanted to call Li Yin through the virtual phone in the private message. She clicked on the call, and then she heard a mobile phone ringing not far from her. She walked up and saw Li Yan and asked. Hello, I'm Su Xinran, is that you? Su Xinran's live broadcast network name is Xinran, and Li Yan nodded after hearing it. Li Yan looked at Su Xinran. This person looks even more beautiful than in the live webcast. It seems that not everything on the internet is an illusion. Su Xinran suddenly felt a little hot in her cheeks. That's right, blushing. To say that the handsome guy Su Xinran has not seen it, but this Li Yan's appearance is. This is too handsome, right? Can he be so handsome in casual wear? If you want to dress up casually, you can't be handsome. A high nose, thin lips, sword-like eyebrows flying diagonally into a few strands of black hair under the corners of the sideburns, a handsome side face and a perfectly impeccable facial contour. This made Su Xinran a little fascinated. After a pause, he said, let's go, whatever you want to eat. Seeing that Li Yan seemed a little reluctant, he said again, what's the matter, don't you want to eat here? His food is very good. Yes, the food is good, but some of the people here, such as the lobby manager, are inevitably a little bit low-eyed. But after all, it was someone else who invited him. Li Yan didn't say anything out of politeness, and then walked into the VIP private room with Su Xinran. The manager knew that Su Xinran had been serving the meal for a long time and was waiting for someone, but he didn't expect that the person waiting for him was Li Yan, who he looked down on. After knowing that Su Xinran and the others were Li Yan, he broke out in a cold sweat. Fortunately, Li Yan didn't say anything, otherwise he would have offended the eldest lady's friend, and it is estimated that he would be the one who couldn't eat and walked around. In the private room, the manager handed Su Xinran a menu. Su Xinran gestured with her eyes to hand the menu to Li Yan, and then the manager respectfully handed over the menu. For Su Xinran's sake, he didn't dare to offend Li Yin, but he had already defined Li Yin in his heart, just a little white face. Li Yan got the menu. It was the first time he came here to eat, and he didn't know what to order. Looked at it, then handed the menu to Su Xinran and said, it's not the first time you've been here, and I don't know what's delicious, do you recommend it? Su Xinran is indeed not the first time to come here to eat. Every time she comes here, she is a high consumer. In addition, the people in this restaurant know her identity, and if she offends a word, she can make the boss roll up and leave. Naturally, there are premium VIP users. After taking over the menu, Su Xinran said to the manager, then give me one of the most popular dishes here. By the way, get me a bottle of 82-year-old Eagle Cabernet wine. The manager hurriedly nodded and responded, okay, Miss Zinra will wait a minute, I'll send it to you in a while. Li Yan glanced at the menu before, but the price of the dishes was not clearly marked on it. But looking at the grade of this restaurant, you know that it is definitely not cheap. There is also the bottle of 82-year-old Howling Eagle Cabernet red wine, which goes without saying that the price is also very expensive. For $1, it doesn't seem good to slaughter someone like this, and it's a girl. Well, you don't have to spend so much, and it's just the two of us, we can't eat so much. It's okay, just try it, try everything, it's very good, I often come to eat. By the way, I don't know what your name is. Li Yin. Su Xinran rubbed her head embarrassedly, and only cared about admiring Li Yan's appearance when they met, so she forgot to ask even the most basic name. After a while, the waiter came in with plates of delicacies and placed them neatly on the table. At this time, the manager stepped forward to open the red wine for them, poured the red wine, and respectfully handed it to Su Xinran. "This wine is precious, you are convinced today, and you can taste such a luxurious thing with the light of our eldest lady. Miss, please use it slowly, I'll go out first, you can be on call if you have something." The manager approached Li Yin, whispered sarcasm before handing the wine to Li Yin, and then left. Li Yan didn't pay attention to it after hearing this. A bottle of red wine is just a bottle, no matter how expensive it is. Can't he afford to buy a bottle of wine with his savings saved over the years? Li Yan swore that he would never come to this restaurant to eat again in the future, no matter how delicious the dishes were, no matter how good they were, people can't do it. The two came to the lobby after finishing the meal, and Su Xinran was ready to settle the bill. But he was stopped by Li Yi. After all, he was born as a man. How could he let a girl settle the bill? And he spent $1 in exchange for such a luxurious meal. Li Yan naturally couldn't help it. "I'll do it." After speaking, Li Yan walked towards the cash register. "Hello, checkout, how much?" "Hello sir, a total of 52,000 was consumed." Hearing this number, Li Yi frowned. A meal is so expensive, damn it. Then he took out his wallet from his pants bag, opened it cautiously, and saw that there were only 300 yuan in it. I thought to myself, this is not enough. Little white face, are you still fighting to pay? What do you think this place is? Can you afford it? Su Xinran, who was waiting on the side, saw that Li Yan hadn't dealt with it for a long time, so she stepped forward to see what was going on. "What's the matter?" "I didn't have enough money." "I'm coming." Su Xinran smiled and said to Li Yin, she knew how could someone who dared to spend so much money in the live broadcast room not be able to afford this money. It must have been a hurry to go out and forget to bring money. The manager on the side looked at Li Yan's eyes with even more contempt and ridicule. And Grandpa Mao, who took out 300 from his wallet, said to Su Xinran embarrassedly, "I'm sorry, I'm really in a hurry to go out today, so I only brought 300. Seeing the 300 that Li Yan took out, the cashier at the front desk was dumbfounded. The lobby manager rubbed his eyes repeatedly with both hands to make sure he was not mistaken, and then his face stiffened without any expression. The corners of Su Xinran's mouth twitched, and she said tremblingly, "I only brought it. 300. 300 is equivalent to 3 billion soft girl coins in this world." Su Xinran's family also has money, and she has a lot of pocket money, but she has never touched 100 bills. She couldn't figure out that the young man in front of her, who was not much different from herself, actually had 300 bills in his bag. And in the case of going out too much to bring enough. How much can you bring if you are not in a hurry? Call the security brigade. Before everyone could come to their senses, a waiter had already called the security guard. At this time, a large number of security guards suddenly came in and surrounded Li Yan to death. Li Yan looked confused. It's just that I didn't have enough money, and it's not that I don't pay the bill. This gentleman, you are carrying a huge amount of money when you go out. In order to ensure your safety, please cooperate, and we will send you home safely." Li Yi's face was confused. A huge amount of money. Only then did he remember the reminder that he had received the gift package when the system appeared before. "I'm going, except for my own money, all the prices in this world are really depreciating." So the 52,000 that the cashier at the front desk just said was not 50,000, but 500 too. Li Yan immediately opened his mobile phone to check his deposit, 300,000 soft sister coins, which is equivalent to 3 trillion in this world. Damn, I can't spend it at all. Such a huge battle in the lobby attracted many onlookers. 100 yuan bills, I didn't expect to see them with my own eyes in my life, and I have 3 special mothers. I work at a bank and the biggest bills I see are only $10. At the same age, people are better than people, killing people. What kind of life do I have? The manager squatted in the corner and shivered. He never thought that the little white face he had been thinking just now was actually a rich and oily tyrant. Because his dog looks down on people, he lost an opportunity to hug his thighs diligently. Think about it, Mom Do wants to give herself 2 slaps. Hey, arrange a luxury car to escort the young master home immediately. The manager then dialed the phone and called a Rolls-Royce Phantom to escort Li Yi home. he now just wants to make up for his mistakes and wait for this master to make up for his previous mistakes. Wagging the dog's tail at Li Yin, begging for forgiveness. At this time, Li Yan was still precipitated in the fact that he had become a rich man, so naturally he didn't have time to notice him. Su Xinran looked at the person in front of her who was tightly surrounded and protected by the security guards, and there were thousands of indescribable feelings in her heart. This man, even if he is handsome, his mother is so rich. The total assets of his family are more than 50,000 yuan, but it is impossible for him to carry so much money at any time. And he casually found 300 bills. Su Xinran became more and more curious about the person in front of her. What kind of family background is it? Going out with so much money, there must be only money left in the family. At this time, the entrance of the Eiffel restaurant. A Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled up at the gate. The lobby manager immediately trotted forward to open the car door for Li Yin. Eldest young master, you see, the small luxury car arranged for you will allow you to sit comfortably and safely at home. As he spoke, he hurriedly waved to the waiter, and then the waiter brought a bottle of high-end and high-grade red wine. Eldest young master, look, today's incident. You don't care about the villain. He knew that a luxury car alone was enough to make Li Yan angry, so he gritted his teeth and brought a bottle of red wine worth a penny. This bottle of red wine alone is enough for his 2-month salary. No way. Who told him to look down on people and offend people who shouldn't be offended? I just want to be courteous. Seeing this, Li Yan smiled disdainfully at the corner of his mouth. After the price depreciation, a Rolls-Royce Phantom costs only $1, plus a penny of red wine. Can you pay for the disgusting of human nature? Call your boss, I bought this restaurant. Seeing this, Li Yan said with a flat face. The waiter on the side was shocked when he heard this, and hurriedly informed the restaurant owner. Then the owner of the restaurant hurried over. You're going to buy my restaurant, you know my restaurant. Before the restaurant owner finished speaking, he saw Li Yi take out $1 from his trouser pocket, and then said with a smile. Ouch, look at it, this restaurant will be yours from now on. After speaking, he took a piece of money from Li Yan's hand, and casually said to the money. $1 can be said to be more than enough to buy this restaurant, and the restaurant owner is ecstatic for this. I have to re-establish the rules of the restaurant, and all the wine will be free in the future. After Li Yan finished speaking, he walked to the lobby manager. With a smile on his face, he said, as for you, take this bottle of red wine in your hand and get out of me. At this time, the lobby manager seemed to feel a thunderbolt from the sky, and he slammed it on himself, and his whole body was paralyzed all of a sudden. Plop. He knelt at Li Yan's feet. Young master, please spare me, I will be a cow and a horse for the rest of my life. Oh no, I will be a cow and a horse for you for the rest of my life. You're not qualified. After speaking, Li Yan skipped the Rolls-Royce arranged by the manager, walked to the side of the road, and raised his hand to hail a taxi. At this time, the security brigade that followed and protected him had also dispersed. Seeing this, Su Xinran also followed. Obviously, she wanted to go to Li Yan's house and see how luxurious the low-key local tyrant lived in front of her. That. My driver has something to do today, and he can't pick me up now. Can I go to your house first? Su Xinran originally had a special car to pick her up, but she informed the driver in advance that she would not pick it up. Go to my house. What's wrong? Isn't it convenient? Well, it's not, it's just that you don't dislike it, there's a bit of chaos at home. After Su Xinran heard Li Yan's response, she smiled slightly and said that it was nothing. She can also help with cleaning or something. After the two finished speaking, they got into the car together. The taxi went through traffic lights one after another, and finally stopped downstairs in a simple-looking community. It's here, let's go. After Li Yan got out of the car first, he put his hand on the top of the taxi door and signaled Su Xinran to be careful and not to hit his head. Seeing this move, Su Xinran felt as if there was a deer bumping around in her heart. There are many rich sons who pursue her, but she doesn't like them, so she has never been in a relationship. I've always heard my friends describe the taste of love, and at this moment I seem to have felt the sweetness and sourness of love. Suddenly, the little face flushed slightly, but it was not very clear under the night. At this moment, she really wanted to know if the handsome and warm person in front of her had a girlfriend. Casually whispered to Li Yi, "You are so good, you must not lack a girlfriend. So you want to know? Aha. Su Xinran nodded hurriedly. Then Li Yan told her about his girlfriend of 7 years. Su Xinran felt very angry after hearing this. Such an excellent man, is he not cherished? Then Zhao Xia is a fool. I also feel distressed for Li Yi. Li Yan said that it didn't matter anymore, and God cleaned the garbage around her. But he didn't plan to let go of Zhao Xia and Wang Baoqi like this. The two continued on their way through the community, and after a while they came to a stairwell. Under the faint voice-activated light, Su Xinran looked around left and right, and blinked a few times. The environmental protection is average, the narrow aisle, and there is no security at the door. Shouldn't it be a luxury villa? I'll go, don't you want to be so low-key? And with so much money on you, aren't you afraid of being robbed? Li Yan looked at Su Xinran, weighed up and down, and finally his eyes fell on Su Xinran's high heels. Are you sure you want to climb up to the 8th floor in high heels? What building? Su Xinran said with a look of surprise. You said that if it were flats, she was wearing high heels, and the heels were 5 centimeters high. If you climb up in high heels, you won't have to spend your feet. Before she could start climbing, her feet seemed to feel the height she was about to face, and they began to go numb. The cerebellum was working fast, and suddenly there was an idea. Perhaps for her, this is equivalent to an opportunity to get close to Li Yin. When they first met, she was already deeply attracted by Li Yin's handsome and compelling appearance. In addition, after listening to Li Yan's story, she felt that if she couldn't grasp such an affectionate man, she would not regret selling the medicine in the future. If you don't work hard, carry me up. Su Xinran looked at Li Yan with a pitiful look. She thought, no matter how she can, she will never refuse a coquettish woman. Seeing Li Yan squatting down, Su Xinran threw himself on his back. What are you doing? Li Yan turned his head to look at Su Xinran, who was crawling on his back behind him, and said, Oh. No. Carry me up. Su Xinran looked confused, and then got off Li Yan's back in embarrassment. I just tied my shoelaces. I won't tease you, the shoelaces are tied, come on. Seeing Su Xinran even more embarrassed, his face was flushed, and he couldn't help laughing. Wash you. Knowing that Li Yi was making fun of her, she was both happy and helpless. Then he pounced on Li Yan's back again, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but rise. 1st floor, 2nd floor, 3rd floor. In this way, Li Yin carried Su Xinran to the 8th floor. When you arrive, come down by yourself. After Su Xinran got off his back, Li Yan took out the key and opened the door. Followed Li Yan's footsteps into the living room. Li Yan asked Su Xinran to sit casually first, and he went to pour water. Su Xinran sat on the sofa and looked at the small house in front of her. She looked around, and suddenly her eyes fell on the coffee table. On the side of the coffee table was 1,000 paper cranes folded for $10. She couldn't believe it, picked it up and looked at it. It was really $10. $10 can buy 3 Ferrari Lafa luxury cars. Just play like that. Curiosity overwhelmed her, and she got up and went to a cabinet. See a piggy bank. She opened it and looked at it, a piece, a penny, a dime, a penny and so on, a jar full of it. She is even more convinced that Li Yan is a low-key local tyrant. At this time, Li Yan brought a glass of water and handed it to Su Xinran. Su Xinran suddenly stared at Li Yan, which made him feel a little inexplicable. What's wrong? Is $10 worth origami? And this piggy bank, such a big amount of money, you just put it away, what if it is stolen? Oh, you say this, I've got hundreds of dollars missing, what's that? During the conversation between the two, Su Xinran almost vomited blood when she heard Li Yan's answer. So what Li Yan said before is that don't suggest it, there is chaos in the house, what should be said is that big money is everywhere, this is messy. Su Xinran took a deep breath and said, your house is quite messy, why don't I help you clean up? Seeing Li Yan's hesitation, Su Xinran added, don't feel embarrassed, I'm not afraid of trouble, I'm idle anyway, right? I had been busy working overtime before, and I didn't have time to clean these at all, and seeing that Su Xinran said this, Li Yan didn't have anything to say. Then Su Xinran found a piece of Li Yan's clothes to change into. Seeing Su Xinran coming out of the bedroom, wearing a shirt, the top button of the collar had not been buttoned. Sushinran's devilish figure, the looming collarbone, is revealed between the gaps in the collar. The thick long black hair was scattered over his shoulders, and the sense of pure desire was full at once. Let Li Yan swallow a mouthful of saliva without swallowing. If you look closely, isn't this your own shirt? Why are you wearing my clothes? It's not cleaning, and I don't have a change of clothes, so I found a random piece of your clothes for easy washing. After speaking, Sushinran rolled up her sleeves and began to clean the room. Li Yan was speechless, but it didn't matter, and then sat on the sofa, opened the mobile phone and saw a push-hot message pop up. List of the richest people in the world. Li Yan clicked incuriously. After a quick scan, he couldn't believe his eyes when he saw the information on the leaderboard. The world's richest man ranks first, and all assets are only more than 50,000 soft girl coins. And all his assets are almost more than 300,000 soft sister coins. This is damn, and he directly threw off a whole street of the world's richest men. And isn't he the real richest man in the world? This sudden point of information made him a little breathless. Li Yan fell into deep thought, and the corners of his mouth couldn't stop rising. And the other side. Sushinran, who was cleaning the room, suddenly ran out of the bedroom screaming. When Li Yan came back to his senses, Sushinran jumped on him in a panic. Li Yan asked with a confused face, "What's wrong?" Fear occupied Sushinran's entire mind, and her mind was blank in the face of Li Yan's question. The legs were slightly bent, tightly clamped around Li Yan's waist, and he didn't dare to straighten up. At this time, Sushinran was like a timid kitten. Then Sushinran gasped for breath, with a little crying. Yes. Yes. There are rats. Phew. Li Yan was directly speechless. Isn't it just a mouse? What are you afraid of? Where is it? I'll take a look. After speaking, Li Yan comforted Sushinran on the sofa, and walked to the bedroom, but he didn't see anything. It's already gone, it's okay. At this time, seeing Sushinran's timid and weak appearance, Li Yan felt a little cute. I couldn't help but smile. Seeing Li Yan laughing at herself, Sushinran pouted and looked innocent. Get up from the couch and continue cleaning the next bedroom. Came to Li Yan's bedroom. Opening the wardrobe, there is a winter down jacket under the wardrobe, which looks like it hasn't been touched for a long time. Took out the clothes. Thought about washing Li Yi, felt if there was anything in the pocket of the clothes, and took them out before washing. Sushinran put her hand into her pocket, felt a few pieces of paper, and when she took them out, she was shocked. It's not a damn piece of paper, it's a whole couple of 500 bills. How many horns were bitten by rats? After a closer look, I guess I didn't take out the laundry before, and it was washed with water. This made Sushinran, who had just been scared half to death by mice, even more breathless all of a sudden. With 500 bills in hand, he trembled and ran to the living room. Seeing her spiritless appearance, Li Yan asked again, "Did you see the mouse again?" I saw Sushinran take out 500 soft girl coins from her hand and hand them to Li Yan. You just put such a big sum of money in your clothes pocket. How many horns do the rats bite? Sushinran was shocked and angry. 500 bills, in Li Yan, it feels like waste paper. If it were to be himself, he would have fainted on the spot. The richest men in the world would not dare to do this. The 300 bills in the restaurant and the current 500 bills seemed to be just casual things in Li Yan's eyes. She fell into deep thought. As an upper-class person, if you want to ask which rich boy brother she doesn't know, is also Li Yan, a low-key and mysterious local tyrant. Li Yan looked at the 500 soft girl coins that Sushinran took out, and he remembered. The year before last, the elders in the family gave him 500, but he couldn't find it later. It turned out to be in the down jacket I was wearing at the time, and I forgot to take it out. I thought it was gone. Li Yi replied with a smile. Still laughing. Sushinran collapsed suddenly. The huge sum of 500 has become like this, how did he still laugh? Oh my God, my heart can't take it anymore. Could it be that this special mother is the legendary woman who regards money as dung? My own family can be regarded as a wealthy family, but this kind of operation is really not something I can understand. Phew. Sushinran took a big breath. After all, in this world, prices have depreciated 10 million times. For others, 500 soft girl coins is indeed an astronomical amount. Seeing Su Xinran like this, Li Yan was not surprised, and it was not strange. How much money do you have that you haven't paid yet? Su Xinran looked at Li Yan earnestly and asked. In this way, she will be mentally prepared when she is cleaning. One will be a 1,000 paper cranes, another will be a piggy bank, and one will be a 100 yuan bill that will be bitten by rats. It feels like buying a lottery ticket to win the lottery, winning tens of thousands the first time, millions on the second time, and tens of millions on the third time. Whoever can stand this? Ah. Li Yan thought about it seriously, and he didn't know it himself. Su Xinran shook her head when she saw this. 500 bills can be forgotten, even if there is an estimate, she doesn't know much. After that, he continued to clean all parts of the room. Let's see if we can find any other. Li casually discarded a penny. And just like that, hours passed, and in the corner of the sofa, under the pillows next to the bed, and on the utility shelf. Not surprisingly, I found bits and pieces of banknotes, adding up to dozens of dollars. The smallest banknotes are all in one piece, and there is not a penny directly. Seeing the banknotes that were thrown everywhere, Su Xinran directly cracked it whole. Without sighing, the hidden rich man. Su Xinran handed all the money found to Li Yan one by one. At the same time, she felt some fear in her heart, which looked at the small room, which was full of treasures. The room was cleaned by herself. If she didn't see a penny, Li Yan wouldn't say that she took it, right? Isn't this goodwill that has been built up in Lyon with great difficulty just disappearing? There is also a label of unclean hands and feet. She was a little worried. But everything was too much for her to think about. Li Yan actually asked her to clean up, and naturally believed in her personality. Although these small sums of money after the depreciation of prices are indeed very attractive, through his observations, he knows that Su Xinran is not the kind of person who worships money. Otherwise, when Su Xinran found the 500 soft girl coins at the beginning, she would have taken the sheep with her. Although it was bitten by a rat, the horn was not very large, and it was not impossible to exchange it at the bank. It's been a hard work, sit down and rest for a while. Few IVE sorted it all out for you this time, don't be so casual with so much money. To be on the safe side, I recommend that you still deposit in the bank. I have a girlfriend who works in a bank, do I need to help you get in touch? Before this, Su Xinran told her best friend about the 10 yuan paper crane and the piggy bank she had just seen at Li Yan's house. Su Ling, a best friend who has just joined the bank, has not had much performance. Prayed to Su Xinran to help him and introduce himself to Li Yan. Su Xinran thought that she didn't have such a big face, but she couldn't refuse her best friend's bitter plea and agreed. Gritted his teeth and said these words. Okay, then contact her tomorrow. Li Yan thought about it, although the money was really not much for him, and there was no need to deposit it in the bank. But seeing that Su Xinran said this, it is equivalent to a small favor. And Su Xinran also helped herself clean up for so long. Promised Su Xinran. Su Xinran immediately told her best friend Su Ling the good news. Su Ling couldn't sit still when he heard this great news. Why don't you have to wait until tomorrow? At night, I packed up and got ready to go out to talk about this big order, and the duck in my mouth couldn't let it fly. Su Xinran saw that her best friend was in a hurry and said that she was going to come over now, and there were a million unwilling people in her heart. It's rare to have a chance to be alone with Li Yan, and she doesn't want others to disturb her. Sent tens of millions of messages asking Su Ling to come over early tomorrow, but seeing that Su Ling didn't give him a chance to refuse, he didn't reply to the message. She was speechless. But what can be done? Su Ling has already gone out, and it is impossible to turn away the door at night. I had to tell Li Yi the news. That my girlfriend said come now, and she's already out. Now, this big night, is there such a hurry? Now that she has gone out, let her pay attention to safety. Su Xinran. It's past 9 o'clock in the evening. Su Xinran entered Li Yan's room and changed his shirt to wash. Ding. Ding ding. When the doorbell rang, it was Su Ling who arrived. Li Yan went to open the door. Hello, I'm Su Ling. When Su Ling saw Li Yan who came to open the door, he was also deeply attracted by Li Yan's handsome face. At this moment, a lot of fantasy sprouted in her heart. Damn, this person is too handsome, and his mother is so rich, so I want to give him a monkey. Come in. Sit casually. After Li Yan brought Su Ling into the room, he still poured her a glass of water out of politeness. Oops, thank you, thank you. Su was a little flattered. Such a handsome man is richer than a rich man, and he actually poured water for himself. The blessings of the previous life. I instantly feel like the happiest person in the world. At this time, Su Xinran came out of the room after changing her clothes. Seeing Su Ling looking at Li Yi affectionately, his eyes didn't blink. Like a hungry wild cat. Let Su Xinran be angry when she looks at it, and introduce you to the performance. Do you want to warp my men? Of course, she knew that she and Li Yan hadn't skimmed it yet, so she just had a good time. Ahem. Su Xinran fiddled with the clothes she had just changed and combed the broken hair in front of her forehead. Su Ling, who was addicted to fantasies, suddenly woke up when he heard the sound. Looked at Su Xinran. Seeing that Su Xinran came out of Li Yan's room, and looked like that, she probably just got up. Su Ling was full of question marks. All the illusions just now have been extinguished. Su Ling's demeanor is charming, coupled with bright eyes and bright teeth, and a white complexion. She is indeed an outstanding beauty. But compared with his best friend Su Xinran, it is far behind. Therefore, the relationship between Li Yin and Su Xinran, which she guessed, should not be simple. If the conjecture is true, then there is nothing to fight about. After all, compared with Su Xinran, whether it is family background or body appearance, 4 words, lose completely. Let's be honest and honest. At least in the end, there will be no lack of people and achievements. Su Xinran stepped forward and sat next to Li Yan. The broken hair that pulled his ears smiled at Su Ling. In fact, there were 10,000 grass and mud horses on his face, which ruined his own good deeds. Then Su Ling also replied to Su Xinran with a smile and looked at Li Yin, and went directly to the topic. Crackling introduction. Young master, if you are willing to deposit your money in our bank, we will give you the maximum deposit interest rate. Generally, the deposit interest rate given by our bank to others is 0.35% for current periods, 1% for 3-month periods, 1.2% for half-year periods, 1.5% for 1-year periods, and 2% for 2-year periods. If you save a lot, the maximum deposit interest rate we can give you is 0.5% for current accounts, 1.2% for 3-month periods, 1.5% for half-year periods, 1.7% for 1-year periods, and 2.1% for 2-year periods. After finishing speaking, Su Ling was full of confidence. After all, no one would refuse such a generous benefit. However, after hearing this, the corners of Li Yi's mouth rose and he sneered. When he is stupid, although he has never worked in a bank, the maximum interest rate he can give is not as Su Ling said. When Su Ling saw Li Yan like this, he couldn't help but feel a chill behind him, and he panicked suddenly. His hands were crossed and clenched tightly, and cold sweat broke out in his palms. But don't lose a big order because of this. Then he said hesitantly, Young master, are you not satisfied? If you consider a fixed term of 5 years in our bank, I can apply to the above to give you a deposit interest rate of 3%. In 5 years, the bits and pieces collected from the cleaning room just now add up to almost 600 soft girl coins. If you save it for 5 years, it will be 90 soft sister coins. After the depreciation of prices, it is converted into 900 million purchasing power. It looks like a lot, but after all, it's interesting enough in this world after the price depreciation. Okay, the 1,000 paper cranes in the piggy bank and the 500 that have been bitten by rats will be deposited in the bank for me. Good, good. Su Ling sighed. The heavy stone in his heart was finally put down, and then he took all the money to the coffee table and counted it. I almost didn't catch my breath, more than 600 oceans. It was the first time in her life that she had seen so much money. There has been no performance, and all of a sudden, such a big order has been received, and the bank president has to be red-eyed. It should be no problem to get promoted to a position or something all at once. If you work in a bank in the future, you can't go sideways. Su Ling now made up all kinds of proud pictures, and he was ecstatic just thinking about it. After signing the contract, Su Ling rubbed the sweat on his palms, took out his mobile phone from his bag and dialed. Hey, you can arrange a few cash trucks to come to the Sheikh community right now. To ensure the safety of this huge amount of money. It's past 11 o'clock in the evening. 4 or 5 cash trucks parked one after another at the downstairs of Li Jiong's residential area. There were several special police officers standing next to the cash trucks. A spear is slung crossbody in front of you, and you hold it tightly in both hands, just in case you need it, always ready. Such a battle attracted many onlookers from the owners of the community. Damn, the cash trucks are here. The cash trucks must be very large. Are there local tyrants in our community? The otherwise quiet neighborhood was suddenly buzzing with people. The people who live in this Shay community are very poor people. The largest banknote they've ever seen is a 5-cent. The richest family in the neighborhood didn't even know what a dollar looked like. A few families who were already asleep, hearing that there was such a bustle downstairs, came to the window with an irritated face, and immediately picked up the clothes next to the bed when they saw the cash truck draped over the shoulders. Damn. The cash trucks are here, what's the situation? Quickly ran downstairs to get a closer look at the situation. On the other side, Su Ling informed Li Yan that the cash transport truck had arrived, and asked him to take it down with him. After all, this is an astronomical amount, and it is impossible to bring the cash truck alone and finish the matter, so Li Yan must also watch the money get on the cash truck safely. It can also show the service attitude of their bank, as well as the safety and reliability of their bank. Several special police officers went upstairs to pack the money in batches with the safe, followed behind Li Yan, and went downstairs together. Seeing this, Su Xinran also got up from the sofa and went down with her. Downstairs in the complex. Isn't this my neighbor? How could it be? He usually goes out early and returns late to earn that little money, and he doesn't have a penny of his salary a month. I can't afford to buy anything, how can it have reached the point where I need a cash truck? I vaguely remember that he seemed to have been in arrears for several months, and I am afraid that he still hasn't paid it back. A young man scurried out of the crowd and said in a strange way. He was Li Yan's neighbor to the door. I like to borrow everything from Li Yan, and then use other people's to save my own money. After being rejected by Li Yan, he always likes to work against Li Yan. After Su Xinran arrived downstairs, she stood beside Li Yan. Everyone's eyes fell on her, and with her naturally beautiful face and noble and gorgeous clothes, it was difficult not to be eye-catching. Hey, stingy man, I asked you to borrow toilet paper before and I was poor and slammed the door, this money is not yours. Could it be that I climbed into the bed of the rich woman next to you on a dark and windy night and was taken care of? Everything on Su Xinran's body looked very expensive, so Li Yan's neighbor saw it and sneered. Su Xinran was about to step forward to teach a lesson, but Li Yan took out the hand in his trouser pocket and grabbed her. Seeing his neighbor's reaction like this, Li Yan was actually not surprised at all. Usually their own things, whether it is daily necessities or money, rice, oil, and salt, anyway, the neighbors who can rub it have to take some from themselves. Good neighbors should help each other. At first, Li Yan didn't suggest, but who knew that the neighbors were getting more and more embarrassed. Once Li Yang had just arrived at the door of the house, and was about to open the door, but the door opened by itself, which immediately startled Li Yan. I thought I was going to see a hell of a life, but who knew that the neighbor on the other side actually came out of his house? Li Yan looked confused, but the neighbor just smiled faintly and said, "Oh, you're back, I don't have any rice in my house, come to your house to borrow some, I know the good neighbor doesn't recommend it." Li Yan asked him where he got the key to his house, and he just smiled and said, "Didn't you put the key here last time and let your girlfriend come and give it to her? I'll take it and match it. Thinking that I don't have to wait for you if I need anything, and I don't bother you to open the door for me." Li Yingqi is angry, helping is love, not helping is duty. In the end, in addition to getting an inch, Tima didn't receive a word of thanks. After Li Yan took the allotment key from his neighbor's hand, his face suddenly changed, he became angry, and yelled at his neighbor, "Get out." The neighbor was so frightened that he almost peed his pants and immediately ran home. Since then, he has been against Li Yong in everything. When everyone heard the words of Li Yan's neighbor, all kinds of gossip began to boil. "Young, a big man, are you embarrassed? I'll just say, looking at his ordinary clothes, how can he be the real owner of these huge sums of money? Tut tut. If it weren't for the rich daughter next to him, it is estimated that he would never have seen what the cash truck looked like in his life." At this time, several special police officers carefully put the safes into the cash truck. After the cash truck left, Su Ling saw that the matter had been dealt with, exhaled lightly, and then said goodbye to Li Yan and Su Xinran. It means that I have to get up early to go to work tomorrow, so I have to go back to rest quickly. Then she came to the side of the road and waved a taxi, and the taxi driver saw her so excited and asked if she had won the lottery. Su Ling just smiled vigorously, and then replied, "I'm happier than winning the lottery, hee hee hee." In the face of everyone's gossip, Li didn't want to argue with these snobs in vain. I just quietly took out my mobile phone and dialed the landlord's phone number. "Hey, young master, is there anything else going on at such a late hour? Are you fancy my house again?" On the other end of the phone, the landlord received a call from Li Yin, who was originally full of sleepiness, and his heart was as excited as if he had been beaten with chicken blood. Maybe it's $1 like before, what else to sleep, daydreaming is always not as comfortable as reality. Hearing the words of the landlord's grandmother, Li suddenly felt a little speechless. I bought this dilapidated house for $1, if I hadn't reacted at the time. Fortunately, it's just $1, if the price doesn't depreciate, 10 million to buy a house in such a broken place, then I can't regret it. Come over here, I want all the houses in your area. Thinking of his own house, Li Yan didn't want to buy any more houses in this place. But now it's different, the price of goods has depreciated 10 million times, and all the houses in this community are only a few dollars in total. In this way, he will be the landlord of all the people in this community. It's time to rectify the district style of this community. At this time, the landlord on the other end of the phone heard the news and felt like crazy. He slapped himself several times repeatedly, and then said to himself, "It's not a dream. It's not a dream. Rich, this is, ha 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 ha." The neighbor heard Li Yi's call, and immediately laughed at everyone, and then mocked. "Listen to it, everyone listen, people want to buy the whole community, ha ha ha, laughing to death, I'm afraid I'm not stimulated by my words and want to pretend to be a fake comparison." Li Yan just sneered, and didn't want to deal with him. After all, the good show was still to come. Don't look at the age of the landlord's grandmother. If you want to join her in the tortoise and rabbit race, she will be designated to take the first place. After a while, he was already in the community. "Young master, you didn't lie to me, ha 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 ha." As soon as the landlord's grandmother entered the community and saw Li Yin, she ran over and looked at Li Yan with a stupid look and said, "Give you $5, is that enough?" As he spoke, Li Yan took out 5 yuan from his pocket of clothes, sandwiched it between his fingers, and handed it to the landlord. Seeing the 5 yuan in Li Yi's hand, everyone rubbed their eyes repeatedly. I couldn't believe it, I saw $5. It's $5 I rely on. At this time, a person walked up tremblingly and looked carefully at the 5 yuan in Li Yan's hand, and fainted directly. Everyone's eyes looked at the 5 yuan that Li Yan was holding between his fingers. $5 used to look like this. I really want to step forward and touch the huge sum of $5. The landlord's grandmother's eyes lit up, and her eyes were staring at the huge money, like a stray dog who hadn't eaten for a long time was looking at the food in front of her hungrily, and she didn't want to waste time chewing, for fear that the fat in her mouth would fly. "Young master, are you? That's a bit much, I can't find it." The landlord frowned, scratched his head very anxiously, and said resignedly. Uploaded it to Li Yin, and this time the landlord was embarrassed to charge Li Yang so much money. She also knows very well in her heart what the condition of these houses is, the environment, security, etc. are just ordinary, and even if she wins them all, she won't need so much money at all. Although she is also a small charter wife, it stands to reason that she should not be bad for money, but her house is rented out for a small amount of money for a year. Even if there are dozens of sets, the total annual income does not exceed a penny. The biggest banknote in his hand was still $1 that he had paid at Li Yang's last time. She also framed the dollar delicately in a photo frame as a collection. So in the face of the 5 yuan that Li Yan took out, she couldn't find it at all, and her brows were tightly wrinkled. "You don't need to look for it, you can take it." Seeing the landlord's grandmother like this, Li Yan took the money in his hand to the landlord. The landlord immediately cried to the bottom. She had struggled all her life, but she didn't expect to win the jackpot at such an age. It seems that the luck of the first half of his life has been accumulated in old age, and he suddenly exploded. "Thank you, young master. Thank you, young master." The landlord wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes with his hand and said in a choked voice, Then the landlord took out his mobile phone and sent a message in the community group. In the future, all your rent will be handed over to this young master, and he will be your landlord in the future. Then the group was transferred to Li Yong. I didn't see the news at the scene, which local tyrant was acquired. When the people at the scene heard the message prompt, they immediately took out their mobile phones and looked at them, and the style of painting changed suddenly in an instant, and they were respectful to Li Yan one by one. It's so generous, it doesn't look like it's being raised. You see the rich daughter next to her, she didn't say a word in the whole process, she must have obeyed this eldest young master. We have to have a good relationship, maybe the rent will be halved in the future. The crowd began to whisper. At this time, Li Yan's neighbors also saw the message sent by the landlord's grandmother without exception. In addition, he witnessed everything the whole time, and he regretted it a little at the moment. Seeing Li Yi walking towards him with a smile in his pockets with both hands, the neighbor thought to himself, things shouldn't be so bad, there must be a turnaround. The house in this place is the cheapest place to rent, and he doesn't want to save all the time, and in the end, the money saved is because he offends this master, and then rents those sky-high houses for every cent a year. Master, look, I don't know Taishan with my eyes, I will squat down and apologize to you, let me go. The neighbor said to Li Yan with a smile. You pack your bags and fuck off. Li Yan just sneered, and then pointed at the neighbor with his finger and told him to disappear later. This kind of person, forgiving again and again, will only make the other party more and more inches, and it is not worth giving him a chance again and again. When the neighbor heard this, he knelt at Li Yan's feet on the spot. Then he howled and wept in front of everyone, like a humble little dog begging for someone to come and speak for him. But of all the people present, who is qualified to interject? Who is not afraid of death? Besides, the neighbor has always had the same attitude towards the neighbors as if everyone owed him. When the catastrophe comes, they fly separately, who cares who is on whom, and he is still a person who has no need at all. Including Su Xinran, who was present, she didn't say a word during the whole process, but agreed with Li Yan's approach. If others are disrespectful, then don't blame yourself for a tooth and an eye for an eye. After that, Li Yan clapped his hands, turned around and prepared to go upstairs. I feel relaxed and in a smooth mood. I have to say that after the price depreciation of 10 million times, it is too cool. Su Xinran saw Li Yan leaving, so she cautiously followed behind. The faint lights of the stairwell cast their shadows on the ground. Li Yan saw that in addition to his own shadow on the ground, there was also a shadow, and judging from the shadow, Li Yan knew that it was Su Xinran. After all, Su Xinran's beautiful figure, this shadow can't be anyone else except her. Li Yan turned to look at Su Xinran and said slowly, "You not going home yet?" She didn't want to go home, so she might as well use the excuse of being so late to rest at Li Yan's house for one night. After all, she didn't want the goodwill that she had so hard earned in Li Yan to disappear. So I want Li Yi to deepen her good impression of herself, even if it is a little bit, she is satisfied. It is also good to lay a foundation for the next step of pursuing Li Yin. It's so late, I don't dare to go back. Su Xinran pouted the pink cherry mouth and said aggrievedly. Li Yan saw Su Xinran's appearance, but he shook his head helplessly. This excuse is also invincible, what else can be said? Look at Su Xinran again, this fairy face and perfect body look so unsafe, if something happens, I really can't afford to pay this responsibility. Su Xinran saw Li Yan shaking his head and sighing, thinking that he was unwilling, so he turned around and prepared to leave dejectedly. What are you doing? Follow me upstairs. Li Yan said helplessly. At this moment, Su Xinran could no longer hide the smile on her face, and happily followed behind Li Yan like a child. After returning home, Li Yan went to the bathroom to prepare to wash up and sleep. It's been so late, and after tossing and turning for most of the day, there's nothing more comfortable now than lying in bed. Su Xinran sat cross-legged on the sofa. Suddenly, seeing that Li Yi's mobile phone messages kept ringing, she looked up at the bathroom and Li Yong, who was still washing. The news has been non-stop, it can't be that there is something urgent. Coupled with his curiosity, he poked his head over and looked at the phone on the coffee table. Carefully picked up Li Yan's mobile phone. There is no password. Su Xinran opened her mobile phone and clicked on the message list to see a few messages. Li Yan, you don't want your salary, do you? Take 2 days off and think you're the boss. If you don't get me back, pack up and get out of here tomorrow. Su Xinran couldn't help but think about it when she saw these lines of big characters. What kind of work did Li Yan do? If he didn't inherit the family's property, he would be 2 years older than himself, so young and promising. And the boss of the company, with such a straightforward tone, do you know that Li Yi is such a tyrant? But looking at this look, there is a high probability that I don't know, otherwise who would dare to offend this big man? An unhappiness directly makes life worse than death in this society. That's what happened to the restaurant's lobby manager and Li Yan's neighbor. Su Xinran got up and ran all the way to the bathroom with Li Yan's mobile phone, thinking that no matter what, she couldn't lose her job because Li Yan didn't see the news in time. Your message, I'm sorry, I saw that the other party kept sending it, it seemed to be in a hurry, and you were still washing, so I read it. Whose message? I see you didn't save a note, his name is, the most handsome boss in the universe. Su Xinran couldn't help laughing out loud when she thought of this. This is Mr. Liu, the boss of Li Yi's company, who often likes to squeeze the company's employees. I also like to bully new employees, treat others as my own errands, and always let others do this and that for me. In the past, when Li Yan first joined the company, he was also always called by this President Liu. Anyone who does not resist will threaten others to pack up their things and get out, and let Li Yan buy coffee, breakfast, and dessert. And it didn't work hard to get a job, so it was gone, but now except for Li Yan's assets, all prices have depreciated by 10 million times. Do you still care about this job that makes people work overtime until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the morning all day? Li Yan said that he didn't need to care. He didn't want to do it for a long time, just as he wished, he would go to the company tomorrow to go through the resignation procedures. Early the next morning, Su Xinran got up early and made breakfast for Li Yan, and informed his driver to come to Li Yan's house this morning to pick up. At this time, the door of Li Yan's room slowly opened. Li Yan swept his messy hair with his hand and walked out of the room slowly. Su Xinran looked at Li Yan in front of her stupidly. Even the messy hair that just woke up couldn't resist his handsome and domineering appearance. The action of picking up the hair almost didn't fascinate Su Xinran to death. Seeing the rich breakfast on the table, Li Yan asked in surprise, "What did you do?" Su Xinran said complacently that it was from her own hands. After the two finished breakfast, Su Xinran's exclusive driver also arrived downstairs at Li Yan's house. "Miss, I've arrived at the location you sent." After receiving the message from the driver, Su Xinran said to Li Yan, "Let's go, I have arranged for the driver to wait downstairs." Li Yan nodded with satisfaction after hearing this. In his opinion, I have to say that Su Xinran did a really good job, and various details made him also have a good impression of Su Xinran again. At this time, Su Xinran also sprouted bright red flowers in her heart. I want to praise myself fiercely, even if I look good and have a good figure, why are I still so smart? The two arrived downstairs. An expensive Ferrari is parked at the entrance of the complex. Li Yi and Su Xinran got into the car together, and after sitting in the back seat of the car, the driver started the sports car, and the two left the community. Damn, a luxury car limited to 499 units worldwide. It's too tyrant, aw. The price is a few dollars, which we poor pens can't enjoy, and there is no regret to be able to witness even a glimpse of life. Without exception, it attracted onlookers from the neighbors in the community. At this time, on the other side, Li Yang's 300 yuan in the restaurant alarmed the major banks in Huaxia. With such a huge amount of money, only depositing in the bank is the safest. As long as Li Yang can be persuaded to deposit the money in his bank, the loan will also be a big profit. Therefore, various large and small banks drove to the downstairs of Li Yan's house one after another, all wanting to let this huge amount of money fall into their own banks. All kinds of luxury cars are parked throughout the community, making the already not spacious community even more narrow. Then people from the major banks got out of the luxury cars. "Yo, isn't this the president of the bank, who is still trying to compete with our bank for a small bank like you?" The person who spoke at this time was President Zhou of Kaigaobada Bank, the largest bank in Huaxia Bank. It can be said that many rich local tyrants in China have deposits in their banks. And President Chen is Su Ling's boss, who usually hangs his son, and all the trivial matters of the bank are handed over to Su Ling. So even Su Ling didn't know that he had persuaded Li Yang to deposit a huge amount of money in his bank before this. And it was only double the deal of the 300 bills he wanted to persuade Li Yan to show. And this time, in the face of this astronomical huge sum, he wanted to go into battle in person and use his ingenuity to seize the popularity of the bank that was not very famous. Governor Zhou, don't you have a long brain? All kinds of signs are obvious. This master who is about to visit must be a low-key young master. President Chen's always dull head was smarter at this time. So do you think that this lord is what others value is the size of the bank? Think about it with your pig's head melon seeds. President Chen continued. However, what he said is quite good. Li Yan really doesn't care about the size of any bank. He values only people and attitudes. Agreed to deposit money in this bank of fortune before, and it was entirely because of Su Xinran's people and Su Ling's attitude. Then we'll see. President Zhou's face was arrogant, and he replied confidently. All the bank presidents began to verbally scramble. However, none of them knew that Su Ling had taken the lead in winning a big order before that. The presidents of all the banks were honestly arguing downstairs in the Liyongjia community. Because they didn't dare to go to Li Yan's house at will. After all, if they disturbed this master, not only would they not be able to talk about this huge amount of money, but they would also have to walk around without food. At this moment, a resident of the community had just returned home from selling vegetables and saw this scene. When he learned that it was the hidden tyrant of the community who forgave them and waited, he stepped forward and said, "The person you are waiting for is already out early in the morning." Hearing the words of this ant wearing a waist in front of her, the community suddenly became dumb and quiet. Hearing the news, the major banks could only return to their luxury cars and leave with tears in their eyes. I can only find a chance next time. After dozens of minutes of travel, Li Yin and Su Xinran finally arrived at the company where Li Yin worked. Seeing that the place where Li Yi worked was so far away from his house, he not only sighed. It's really a life experience. Subsequently, the Ferrari luxury car stopped in front of the company. After the two got out of the car, the driver drove the car into the company's parking lot and waited. Li's company is an internet company. Although the boss of the company, Mr. Li, was so squeezed and embarrassed by Li Yi, he still worked very hard to achieve some results. He is often praised by the company's senior leaders, but because Mr. Li has a close relationship with the company's senior management, he has always used his experience as a rhetoric. So much so that Li Yan has worked for a few years and is only a small team leader. Because of his excellence, senior leaders have been praising him, and Xiao Wang, who joined the company with him, no matter how hard he tried, the company would not notice him. So Xiao Wang, that is, Wang Lei, counted all his dissatisfaction on Li Yan's head. His work efficiency is indeed a lot worse than Li Yin's, but he thinks that it is caused by Li Yin. This made Li Yan feel a little speechless. Damn, these days, smart and wrong. Before Li Yi arrived at the company, Wang Lei threw all Li Yan's things into the trash can early. Also threw an important briefcase of Li Yan into the trash, and spit on Li Yin's briefcase. And Li Yi, who was already tired of this company, didn't want to step into this snobbish company at all. The reason why he came back today was not to pack anything, and there was nothing important for him to take with him, but except for the briefcase. There's something important inside the briefcase. It was a photo given to him by a very good Fa Xiao in the past. But due to natural and man-made disasters, he went to Elysium because of a car accident. So Li Yan has been carefully preserving that photo. For him, that photo is more important than anything. The elevator stops on the 17th floor. Li Yan and Su Xinran stepped out of the elevator one after another and came to the floor where they worked. This familiar sense of oppression made Li Yi feel as if he was back to continue this work day and night. I feel very uncomfortable. Continuing to walk forward with reluctant steps, Li Yong saw his various information in the trash can at a corner after getting out of the elevator. And that black cloth briefcase. If you look closely, in the upper left corner of the briefcase, there is a thick of sputum. Seeing that Li Yan was standing in place and not continuing to move forward, Su Xinran walked up to him and looked up at Li Yan. He was furious, his face was like a frost, and his eyes seemed to be about to burst into flames. Su Xinran looked in the direction that Li Yan was staring at. I seem to understand it all of a sudden. Presumably the contents of this trash can are Li Yan's, and then look at the thick phlegm on the briefcase. Su Xinran's teeth itched angrily. This is too hateful, the master is not here, so he threw other people's things. No matter how good-tempered people are, they can't sit still. Sushinran was furious and wanted to find out who had done such a despicable thing. With a frustrating step, he quickened his pace. I just ran into Wang Lei around the corner. Sushinran was just about to step forward to ask, and Wang Lei saw Li Yan standing next to the trash can. Yo, who did I say? Isn't this our dear group leader Li Yin? You've been fired, why are you coming back? By the way, I'm the captain of this group now, and sure enough, you're the one blocking my way, get out. Wang Lei stepped forward and said mockingly while holding Li Yan's chest with his hand. Seeing this, Sushinran, who was standing not far away, stepped forward and grabbed Wang Lei's collar. Asked Wang Lei if he did the trash can. Ah, I did it, what's the matter, it's all dirty garbage. Wang Lei replied with a proud face. Sushinran heard a slap in the face of raising her right hand and slapping it towards Wang Lei's left cheek. It's the first time I've seen someone who has done something bad and is so right. Seeing this, Wang Lei frowned, and pinched Sushinran's wrist that was about to go to his face. Yo, you chick has a pretty twisted temper, I like it. When Wang Lei said this, he knew that he didn't understand that the person in front of him was not an ordinary person, but the pearl of the CEO of the largest and most famous company in China. At this moment, Li Yan stepped forward and dragged the dirty hand that was placed on Sushinran's wrist, and pulled Sushinran behind him. He decided that he must make this hateful guy in front of him unable to eat and walk around today. I took out my mobile phone and got through to the phone number of the company's senior executive. Fortunately, I have worked here for so many years, otherwise I would have to spend time calling the person in charge of the company. The phone rings. Hey. Li Yin, please come to the company immediately and sign the acquisition contract. He has known Li Yin, and he used to be the person who valued Li Yin the most, and he wanted to help him many times, but the result was very helpless. After all, in this kind of company, it is meaningless to help one person alone. He also knew that Li Yi was not a person who liked to joke. After hanging up the phone, he asked the driver to send him to the company quickly. Half an hour passed. The head of the company has arrived at the company. As soon as Li Yan saw the person in charge, he went straight to the topic. How much does it cost? Li Yi, are you serious? And Li Yan didn't want to talk nonsense at the moment, and after nodding, the person in charge stretched out his hands, and the index fingers of both hands crossed and compared to 10, and then to 2. Seeing this, Li Yan was a little confused and speechless. But I said it myself, compared to 12, who knows what the unit behind is? I'm here to buy, not to guess the numbers. Seeing this, Wang Lei suddenly jumped out and continued to sarcastically, Little Turtle 3, what are you pretending to be? What kind of courage did you have to say this to make me happy? The person in charge is just a little embarrassed by the number, this number is indeed a bit big, and I thought that even if Li Yan won the lottery, he couldn't afford it on his terms. In the end, Li Yan could only end up embarrassed. The person who notified the board of directors before the person in charge came, so it should be said that the board of directors gave this result. Made it clear that he wanted Li Yan to recognize himself, not to be a hero for a while. He always felt that Li Yan was really good, and he didn't want to harm him. Thinking of this, the person in charge took a deep breath and said slowly, 12. Sushinran heard the lion open his mouth and tugged at Li Yan's cuffs on the side. Let him not be impulsive. Li Yan couldn't bear it, he just wanted to see what it was like for Wang Lei to beg his father to tell his grandmother for a while. Moreover, for those who have a balance of hundreds of thousands, it is only 14 yuan. It's just a drizzle. Okay. Li Yan readily agreed. But he had no change on him, so he asked Su Ling to deposit all of it in the bank. The smallest change on the body was only 50. Then Li Yan took out 50 yuan and handed it to the person in charge. Seeing this big bill, the person in charge was shocked all of a sudden. This kid really got the bill, it's still so big, it's impossible. This. Where did you get so much money? Suddenly broke out in a cold sweat, worried about whether Li Yan had done something illegal. But seeing that Li Yan dared to use it so uprightly and brightly, he dispelled this idea. After all, who did the improper money was used in front of everyone. You. I can't find it, or I'll transfer someone to the bank now to get some change. The person in charge continued, and Li Yan also nodded. At this time, when Wang Lei saw this scene, he realized that he had finished his calf. I've gotten myself into a big problem. His eyes kept rolling on Li Yi and the 50 soft sister coins in Li Yi's hand. It's as if I'm like a puppet now. I can only watch everything happen, but I can't do anything, and I can't feel my heartbeat anymore. After a while, the bank sent someone with a few safes and delivered a huge amount of change. The person in charge took the 50 soft sister coins in Li Yi's hand, and then gave the boxes of change to Li Yi. Wang Lei on the side was trembling. Recalled the stupid thing he had done, and couldn't help but give himself 2 slaps. He only wanted to have a chance to redeem it all now. Squatting in despair on the cold floor tiles, Li Yan sorted out and patted his clothes, sorted out the broken hair in front of his forehead, and slowly walked to Wang Lei, who was kneeling on the ground. Wang Lei lowered his head and saw a man wearing a pair of casual sneakers walking towards him. Getting closer. Getting closer, and with it, this damn sense of oppression grows stronger. He knew that it was Li Yan who was ready to attack. I feel like it's a lot harder than usual to breathe. Wang Lei pounced on him all of a sudden, bent his body and hugged Li Yan's ankle tightly to beg for forgiveness. It's a pity that God won't give this kind of person a chance to mend his ways. Forgiveness again and again will only make them more aggressive, bullying and crushing those who are weaker than themselves. I was wrong, please ask young Master Li Yi to have another chance with me, please. Wang Lei looked up at Li Yan pitifully, put his hands together on his chest and kept swinging up and down, and said with a crying and trembling voice. Li Yi put his hands in his pockets, just a sneer, and then looked at his briefcase in the trash can. The more I thought about it, the more angry I became. Wang Lei is also a person who knows how to read words and feelings, and immediately knelt on the ground and rubbed his legs on the ground until he reached the trash can. He picked up the briefcase from the trash can, and people who had always been cleanliness didn't care about it at the moment. Lick it clean. Li Yan raised his right hand and pointed to the briefcase, staring at Wang Lei very seriously. Wang Lei hesitated for a moment. It's so disgusting that you actually let yourself lick. Forget it, let's avoid this catastrophe first. Anyway, I vomited myself, it should be pretty clean. Wang Lei fought a battle of comfort in his heart, and then looked at the thick phlegm he vomited, and suddenly felt nauseous. Why, I feel disgusted. The corners of Li Yi's mouth rose, and he sneered again. Wang Lei clenched the briefcase tightly, mustered up his courage, stretched out his tongue and licked it clean. This speed is exactly the same as in the scorching sun. A person who can't stand being irradiated by the hot sun sees the delicious ice cream he just bought in his hand, and quickly takes a sip. Then he immediately vomited, got up from the ground in embarrassment, supported the trash can with both hands, and it can be said that he vomited out the big meal that he spent a few minutes on a few days ago. Su Xinrong couldn't help but hold his mouth with his hand behind Li Yan and snickered. After Wang Lei emptied the garbage in his stomach, he turned around and looked at Li Yan in frustration. You can let me go now, young master. He felt relieved now, and the matter was finally over. So he secretly swore in his heart that he would not let him catch Li Yan fall one day, otherwise he would definitely make Li Yang tens of thousands of times more embarrassed than he is today. However, it's not over. I touched Su Xinran just now, and the disrespectful words I said to her can't just be prevaricated unconsciously, right? Which hand did you touch Xinran just now? Su Xinran never thought that Li Yan would stand up to support herself, and call herself so kindly. She looked at Li Yan, and tears of emotion were about to flow out. He pursed his lips and smiled sweetly. But Wang Lei couldn't bear it any more at this time. He made such a disgusting apology just now, so he touched Su Xinran's wrist. What's wrong? Could it be that he still wants to cut off his hand to make amends? The big deal is that there is less work, and it is not that he can't live, so why let Li Yang torture himself alive? I've done what you wanted, what do you want? Li Yin. You'd better pray that I can't stand up, or I'll kill you. After Wang Lei figured it out, he felt that it was really unnecessary, including just now. He didn't need to apologize, so he puffed up his chest and yelled at Li Yan fiercely. Wang Lei's reaction really surprised the owner of the company. But Li Yan is not surprised by this at all. He has worked under the same roof with Wang Lei for so many years, and he knows Wang Lei too well. Even if he forgives him this time, Wang Lei will only be more excessive in the future, and he doesn't know what to do. Okay, then I'll make it impossible for you to stand up. Notify all departments that Wang Lei has been fired, and in the future, if any company dares to take in Wang Lei, it will be considered against me. If you don't believe I have this strength, you can try. Li Yan didn't want to spend it with Wang Lei, so he didn't choose the road, so he just kept walking in place. Su Xinran was shocked when she heard this. This is a ban, I'll go. It seems that what I know and understand about Li Yin as a local tyrant may only be 1%. And the company, as Li Yan's boss, Mr. Lu was curled up in the corner at this time, not daring to move, watching all this silently, and not daring to put a fart. For fear that Li Yan would look at him next. The onlookers of the company were very happy to see Mr. Lu, who was usually not afraid of heaven and earth, in embarrassment at the moment. Praised Li Yi for doing a really good job, so relieved, and then there was a round of applause, which kept whirling in the company. Knock. Wang Lei said that sentence arrogantly, originally thinking that Li Yan would definitely be forgiving and forgiving. When he heard Li Yi's words, he was killed in the circle, which meant that his iron rice bowl was broken, but what else could he do besides that skill? This is no longer a cheap mouth, this Tima is directly looking for death. The whole body was paralyzed, like an animal without a cervical vertebrae, and suddenly fainted heavily on the floor. Li Yan took out the old yellowed photo from his briefcase. In the photo is a photo of 2 little boys and a little girl. The one to Li Yong's left is his best hair boy, that is, the one who went to Elysium early. The little girl on the right is a little friend they met when they went out to play. From the photo, it can be seen that the little girl is very good-looking, with big watery eyes and 2 small pigtails. When Li Yi and Fa Xiao were playing outside when they were young, due to their naughtiness, the ball in their hands accidentally kicked into a glass window and smashed other people's glass. Li Yan and Fa Xiao were both worried and scared when the incident happened, and they were worried about what others would do if they made compensation for a while. What I'm afraid of is that if my parents find out, I will inevitably stand on the wall for my naughty punishment, and after thinking about it, I will have to be beaten violently. Just as the two were anxious to figure out a way, the little girl in the photo appeared. And told the store that he accidentally broke it and wanted to relieve them. Seeing this, Li Yan and Fa Xiao hurriedly ran forward and told the store that it was not the little girl who made it, but they made it themselves. In their opinion, how can they let a little girl relieve them from the siege of the trouble they caused, although they are still young, but they will be a male paperman who stands up to the sky in the future. Sure enough, Li Yan is now a man who can stand up to the sky. Seeing that they were children who dared to admit their mistakes, the shopkeeper didn't ask about their mistakes, and told them to be careful next time. The 3 of them looked at each other, and after I looked at each other, I became happy. In this way, the 3 of them often go out to hang out together. Li Yi and Fa Xiao often joke about little girls, and let her be their daughter-in-law when they grow up. But the good times did not last long. The little girl's family was in good condition, and soon her parents bought a bigger house in another place, and she had to move to a new house. After the little girl took the money given by her parents and invited Li Yi and Fa Xiao to eat, she said goodbye to them with tears in her eyes, and she has never been in touch since. Can't be reached either. Until now, even if Li Yan meets him, he doesn't know what the little girl has grown into when she was a child, what kind of work she does, and so on. It didn't take long for the best Fa Xiao to pass away due to natural and man-made disasters. And this photo was taken by a camera imported from abroad that the little girl brought out when she was about to leave, one for each of the 3 people. Li Yan looked at the photo and fell into deep thought, and began to recall the short happy time that only belonged to the 3 children. It's a little sad. Su Xinran saw that Li Yan had been staring at the old photo since he took out this old photo in his briefcase, and he didn't say a word. Su Xinran felt a little strange. What kind of photo? It's worth making Li Yi so popular. It can't be the photo of the green tea girlfriend who has been with him for 7 years, right? That woman is so excessive, Li Yan won't still miss the past with her. Su Xinran's cranky thoughts made the sour vinegar energy suddenly come to his heart. Your ex-girlfriend. Su Xinran leaned her head slightly in the direction of the photo in Li Yan's hand, and asked with a very reluctant smile on her face. Li Yan saw Su Xinran poking her head over, and immediately put away the photo. He didn't want anyone to know about these things, because they were his own memories, and besides, sharing them wouldn't be understood by others, just as a simple story. Especially Su Xinran, a person who is already curious, she must ask who this and that in the photo is when she sees it, and Li Yan really doesn't want to mention the past again, so that she can be sad again. A photo with a friend. Li Yan replied with a bland and tasteless face. Su Xinran didn't look very happy to see Li Yan, so she didn't continue to say more. Call the driver to drive the luxury car to the door ready to pick it up. At this time, it was almost time for lunch, and because breakfast was a little too early, Su Xinran already felt a little hungry. The two entered the elevator and pressed the button on the first floor. The elevator descends slowly. I want to eat something. Last time I was supposed to invite you to dinner, but in the end, it was because you gave me a free order, so I still owe you a meal. Su Xinran wanted to enliven Li Yin's bad mood. She didn't want to make Li Yin sad, so she thought that there was nothing sad that food couldn't solve. And Li Yan must be hungry, after all, breakfast is really early. Comforted Li Yan on the side. Elevator to the ground floor. The driver stepped forward and opened the door to escort the two to the car. Ugh. Then you decide, I can do it. After seeing Li Yan's response, Su Xinran nodded wildly in ecstasy. Then he told the driver his destination, and the driver started the engine, and a Ferrari sports car sped down the road. Shang Chinese restaurant. Soon arrived at the destination, the driver pulled the car to the side, and the two got out of the luxury car. This is a very high-end looking restaurant, even more high-end than the last Eiffel restaurant. I just don't know if the service attitude in a high-end restaurant like this is the same as agreeing with Phil. If that's the case, Li Yan will just turn around and leave. Li Yan walked into the restaurant, and he still didn't have the same extravagant dress as always. A beige casual t-shirt on the upper body and a pair of black loose-fitting pants on the lower body, paired with a pair of casual white shoes. The small fresh style makes people look particularly clean and tidy. At this time, a waiter in a black dress walked forward enthusiastically. Good afternoon, gentlemen and ladies, please inside. Seeing Li Yan and Su Xinran, the waiter stepped forward and greeted them warmly with a smile, bowed 90 degrees, and stretched out his right hand to show them the way. At this moment, Li Yi smiled slightly, feeling very comfortable, and followed the waiter's lead, and the two came to a quieter place. It's the most corner of the restaurant, and many people who don't like to make noise like to book that spot. Not only quiet, next to the window, a large floor-to-ceiling window. Not far from the floor-to-ceiling window is a local tyrant's villa courtyard. The courtyard is planted with a lot of beautiful flowers. The overall look is particularly comfortable. Li Yan looked out of the floor-to-ceiling window, and was also attracted by the chic courtyard, which looks like it should cost a lot of soft girl coins. If only he had a set, it would definitely be more chic than this. Li Yan was a little fascinated by it, but soon came back to his senses. What are you thinking? The current price of goods has depreciated by 10 million times, so according to my savings, there is nothing I want but can't buy. Look at other people's incense, how can they have their own incense? Then Li Yan asked curiously like Su Xinran. How many soft girl coins do you need to get a villa like this? Well, not necessarily, it depends on the quality of the decoration materials, as well as the size of the area and many other things to distinguish, but the opposite one should only cost a few dollars. It doesn't look very big, and the decoration materials look very average, so it's not very expensive. If you want to ask Su Xinran why she understands this part so well, it is actually due to the fact that the company she opened is engaged in real estate. Has followed my father since childhood, and this knowledge is inevitably indispensable. Moreover, her family's real estate company is quite famous in Huaxia, and it can be said that real estate is already the leader among all the real estate enterprises in Huaxia. What's the matter, you're planning to do one? Well, there's this idea. Li Yi replied lightly. After all, after the depreciation of prices, I can't spend my money at all, so why do I still live in that house that doesn't look good? Before the price of goods has not depreciated, I have been renting a house, and now there is no need to save money as before. A villa courtyard is only a few yuan, and I am afraid of a lamp. Su Xinran blinked a few times. This feeling of buying whatever she wants, she really wants to have it. Although her family can be regarded as a big tyrant-level family, and her father also spoils her very much, but many times she wants to buy something she likes, her father will not support her unconditionally. Because I want her to know that what she wants has to rely on her own hands. Su Xinran naturally knows this truth. But when Li Yi replied with an understatement, she did feel that she was really bad. Okay, I know a lot about this, take me with you when the time comes, and I can help you avoid pits. Su Xinran replied excitedly. For her, there is another opportunity to be able to contact Li Yan with confidence. Before that, she was still thinking sadly about when she and Li Yan would have the opportunity to meet next time after this meal. This is a good thing, and it directly solves this difficult problem. The waiter brought the menu, and after the two of them finished ordering, the waiter put the delicious dishes on the table in a short time. Su Xinran looked at the food on the table and swallowed her saliva, but she was so hungry that she had been hungry for a long time, and she always felt that the waiter was much slower than usual when she served the food today. "Let's eat," Su Xinran said after handing the well-received dishes and chopsticks to Li Yan. The two were about to move their chopsticks. A waiter slowly walked towards them with a huge king crab. Su Xinran felt a little strange. The king crab she ordered was already on the table. Ask the waiter if they made a mistake and their dishes are ready. It was given to you by the gentleman in a black suit over there. The waiter gestured to a guest who was not far from them and replied with a smile. Su Xinran followed the waiter's instructions and looked at the young man not far away. Looking from the bottom up, a pair of bright and shiny leather shoes, a black collar suit, Su Xinran continued to look up. When she saw a straight round face and a 3/7 hairstyle, she immediately rolled her eyes at the man. Su Xinran felt a little speechless. How could she meet this hateful guy anywhere? Especially at this time, so that she doesn't want to deal with the other party when they greet her. This person is Su Xinran's college classmate Zhang Yi. There are countless people who have pursued Su Xinran in college, and Zhang Yi is one of them, and it is also the craziest one. It's been a few years since he graduated from college, and Zhang Yi is still pursuing Su Xinran. Even if he has been rejected many times, he won't give up. Is also a very arrogant boy, who feels that only he can be worthy of Su Xinran in this world, and only he can give Su Xinran happiness that others can't give. He was walking on the street, looking around, and was hesitating about what to eat, when he happened to meet Su Xinran walking into the Supreme Chinese restaurant. He followed in without hesitation, and when he saw Li Yan beside Su Xinran, he didn't come forward to disturb. Just sat at the table not far from them, asked the waiter to bring the menu, and silently ordered a king crab for the waiter to deliver to their table. Seeing that Su Xinran didn't make any response, Zhang Yi stepped forward. "No thanks," said to Su Xinran with a smile. Thinking that he had done a great deed, he saw that the king crab that Su Xinran ordered was not very big, so he sent a bigger one. Su Xinran's teeth itched directly. "I almost scolded Zhang Yi directly. I thank your second uncle, I ordered a king crab myself, and he also sent one that was bigger than the one he ordered. Did you deliberately want to make yourself embarrassed in front of Li Yan? Order such a small king crab, and the bigger one is reluctant to consume for Li Yan." Actually, no, the reason why Su Xinran ordered a not-so-big king crab was completely because it was just the two of them. So there's no need to order a particularly big one, and then extravagant and wasteful. Su Xinran forcibly endured the grass mud horse with a capital letter on her face and smiled at Zhang Yi. "I didn't bother you, did I?" Then Zhang Yi said knowingly. "Why didn't you bother? It must have been disturbed." Of course, the moment he followed Su Xinran in, he didn't plan to just watch silently from the sidelines. After all, the girl he has pursued for many years suddenly went out to eat alone with a man who was particularly strange to him. How could he sit still? It was obvious that the king crab was also deliberately sent to their table by Zhang Yi. "Hello, my name is Zhang Yi, what's your name?" Seeing Li Yan, who was sitting opposite Su Xinran, he also greeted Li Yan warmly. He also asked Li Yan what his name was in the English of the process. He didn't intend to be an enemy of Li Yan, he was full of confidence, and he only felt that he was the final winner. So he is also willing to compete fairly with Li Yan. After leaving the society, his career rose step by step, and like Su Xinran's family, he started a real estate company, and his company was the most famous among the enterprises of the same class. At a young age, the annual income has reached more than a dozen soft sister coins. So he is very proud of this, and he has the mentality of winning no matter what he does. When he saw what Li Yan was wearing, he was still competing with him to pursue Su Xinran, and he felt that he must have won 100%. Li Yan. Li Yan looked at the man in front of him who was full of famous brands, and replied with a bland and boring face. At this time, Su Xinran just wanted this annoying man to leave quickly. If Li Yan misunderstood, he would not be at a loss, so he could only find a place to cry. Then explained to Li Yi that Zhang Yi was just his college classmate, and hurriedly broke off his relationship with Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi saw that Li Yan didn't say anything, so he said unceremoniously, "It's not fragrant for me to eat alone, so I don't recommend that I have a meal with you, right? I've never seen Zinra go out to eat alone with a person of the opposite sex. You must be a very nice person. Let's make friends with each other and get to know each other." Then he looked at Su Xinran and continued, "You're right, Xinran. Making friends is fake. Zhang Yi just wants to know himself and his opponent in order to win all battles." He wanted to use the excuse of making friends with Li Yong so as to understand what advantages Li Yin had, and even let himself pursue a smiling goddess who had not been able to get him out to eat alone. Then learn from each other's strengths and weaknesses and change himself, just to let Su Xinran reward him with a smile. Su Xinran frowned when she heard Zhang Yi call herself like this, and immediately responded, "Don't scream, like the two of us know each other very well." Su Xinran rolled her eyes at Zhang Yi again. At this time, she was even more angry, but she was very helpless. She wanted to have a quiet meal alone with Li Yin. Why was it so difficult? Glared at Zhang Yi viciously. If the only remaining goodwill that he has been working hard in Li Yan for the past few days is gone, Zhang Yi will be dead. Zhang Yi is also smart. If he can't see it, he doesn't have it. He dodged Su Xinran's eyes that wanted to kill him alive, and then started chatting with Li Yan with a smile. "How did you get Zinra to accept your pursuit?" Facing the men in front of him, Zhang Yi didn't want to talk to him about other boring topics. He just wanted to know how to get Su Xinran's heart, so he went directly to the topic he was interested in. Su Xinran, who was almost half angry with Zhang Yi's unsmart brain on the side, heard Zhang Yi's words again. Slowly turned his head to Zhang Yi, and his big watery eyes stared at Zhang Yi. If it weren't for Li Yi's presence now, she really wanted to go up directly to reward Zhang Yi with a big scud. The company is running very well. Why is the brain not smart? Li Yong pursues himself. I'm afraid that the probability of winning the jackpot is 10 million times smaller than buying a lottery ticket, or that it is directly impossible. How dare Zhang Yi say it? She regretted it very much. Why did she bring Li Yan to this restaurant for dinner, and then meet this stupid comparison in front of her? Li Yi was also a little confused when he heard Zhang Yi's words. I'm afraid that I didn't misunderstand something. It's not. You seem to have misunderstood. Li Yan put down the chopsticks in his hand and was about to answer Zhang Yi's question, but was interrupted by Su Xinran. Are you trying to be angry with me? What kind of eyesight do you have? It's not Li Yan who is pursuing me, but I'm pursuing him. Su Xinran gasped for a long time, and her little face flushed slightly. She really wanted to pinch Zhang Yi to death, so that she could say something similar to Xiang Zai's confession to Li Yi in this scene. I just wanted to find a crack in the ground and turn in. This was the first time she had said such a thing to a person of the opposite sex, and she was still in a restaurant in full view, and she was embarrassed to death. Zhang Yi couldn't believe his ears, turned his head to look at Li Yin, and then glanced at Su Xinran. This special horse doesn't look like a joke, and Su Xinran won't joke about this kind of thing. Oh my God, the goddess who has been held in the clouds by everyone is chasing a person of the opposite sex. And Tima is more handsome than me. Where did I lose? I am young, have a promising career, have a car and a house, and I can barely be regarded as a rich and handsome person. But apart from my looks, where can I lose? Zhang Yi, who has been thriving in his career, feels that his self-esteem has been seriously hit at this moment. I was so surprised that I kept my mouth open, and the corners of my mouth trembled slightly, and I couldn't believe that all this was true. Back then, he was a well-known rich second generation at school, and there were also girls who pursued him, but he was only interested in Su Xinran. But there are too many people pursuing Su Xinran, and he stands in the crowd and wants Su Xinran to see that he is impossible. But now that he is out of society, without the constraints of school, he is the person who is the most advanced from her among all Su Xinran's pursuit objects. The so-called building near the water gets the moon first. He has worked hard for so long and the water has not even approached, and the moon has disappeared. Zhang Yi pursed his mouth, with a little tears in his eyes, and looked at Li Yi pitifully. I have to say that he is too envious, and he can't compare to him, a person who has only appeared in Su Xinran's world for a few days. In the end, Zhang Yi wanted Su Xinran to tell him where he lost, but he didn't say it. Because he was so aggrieved, if he said one more word, he would lose his manhood, and he just wanted to find a place where no one was there and cry secretly. Zhang Yi finally held back tears and left. Li Yan, who heard Su Xinran's words, was also embarrassed. He has always regarded Su Xinran as a very good friend, but how to face such news when he suddenly came, it was not directly embarrassing for both of them. Su Xinran was speeding up the operation of the cerebellum on the side, racking her brains to think about how to alleviate this embarrassing atmosphere. Her heart was beating wildly, and now she was glad that she was in the restaurant, and although they were sitting quietly, she could still hear the buzz next to her. Otherwise, if it is too quiet, the sound of the heartbeat will probably be heard by Li Yi. The two were in an awkward situation. After a while, Su Xinran thought of a clever trick. "What are you doing?" "What I was joking about just now was to make that guy Zhang Yi die, keep pestering me, and annoy people to death." Su Xinran wiped the cold sweat on her forehead and said with an unnatural smile. "Phew." Exhaling softly, this clever little brain melon finally came up with a clever way to alleviate this awkward atmosphere. Otherwise, if Li Yan avoided himself in the future because of this, then he really didn't want to forgive himself for the rest of his life. As for Zhang Yi's stupid comparison, she will have to tear his annoying mouth when she sees him again in the future. Day by day, he caused such a thing to come out of himself. If he wasn't smart and his head turned fast, he would have to run to find Zhang Yi and give him a mouthful. When Li Yan heard Su Xinran say this, his heart suddenly relaxed. But there seems to be a little bit of loss, but there is no special feeling. That. "I'm hungry." Su Xinran pouted and said to Li Yi. "Aha." The two continued to pick up the dishes and chopsticks, facing the delicacies on the table. As for the big king crab sent by Zhang Yi, Su Xinran had already dumped it into the trash. After lunch, the two walked out of the Supreme Chinese restaurant. And Zhang Yi sure didn't leave like this. He was unwilling to let Su Xinran, who he had been pursuing for so long, lose to a nobody who seemed to be inferior to him in every way, so he wanted to fight for his happiness. Seeing Li Yan and Su Xinran coming out, Zhang Yi stepped forward and startled the two. His eyes were slightly red, and he looked like he had been crying sadly for a long time, and there were tears in the corners of his eyes that had not been wiped clean. "Xinran, are you really not thinking about it anymore?" he said after wiping the excess tears from the corners of his eyes. Su Xinran, who had just recovered, saw Zhang Yi fall into a speechlessness again. How dare he come back? Do you have to eat two of his own big mouths to be happy? Please, please let this unsightly guy disappear quickly. He's sad enough, he's cried enough, and it's my turn to cry again. Su Xinran felt a little broken, but she didn't want to deal with Zhang Yi at all. Seeing that Su Xinran didn't reply, Zhang Yi continued. "Actually, I'm here this time because there's a big thing that I'm going to accomplish." At first, Su Xinran felt a little strange when she first met Zhang Yi. His company was a long way away from this restaurant, and he had to travel so far to have a meal. Besides, this restaurant is not so famous, and I thought Zhang Yi was following him. Because this has happened before, Zhang Yi quietly followed him in order to know where his family lived, just to be able to send her a bouquet of flowers on Valentine's Day. Anyway, as long as Zhang Yi is there, Su Xinran will inevitably be speechless, surprised, and inexplicably angry. This is for who is not popular, let's say affectionate, it's not counted, it's good to live a few years less than kill on the spot. Let's say it's not affectionate, he tried his best to just smile for the person he liked. Su Xinran sighed and rolled her eyes. It was really the first time she felt so tired talking to others. Is also 100 times more bored with Zhang Yi. "Big brother, is there a mistake? What do you have to do with me? I'm not interested in knowing, get out, I still want to live longer, do you have to me off to death? And no matter how college is now, I can be regarded as a person who has known each other for a few years, and I can be regarded as half a friend, I am really a pig teammate. I received news that there is a mysterious low-key tycoon living here, so I plan to come and pay a visit. If he can take a stake in our company, my career will go to the next level, and it is possible that even several floors will be possible. And now the people of the major banks in Huaxia are scrambling to grab people, and I heard that the presidents of the banks who received the news early this morning have gone to the Sheikh community to visit this Shenhao. But not a single figure had been seen, and before they could go, the god had already left, and had missed it in vain." Zhang Yi seemed to have forgotten his previous sadness, and excitedly explained this matter to Su Xinran. Hearing Zhang Yi's words, Su Xinran's head was running rapidly. Low-key tyrants. Sheikh community. Isn't that what Li Yi is talking about? Su Xinran couldn't help laughing in her heart. Zhang Yi, a fool, was afraid that he didn't know that the god in his mouth was far away in the sky, close to his eyes. Laugh to death. How long is that head? Smart and confused for a while. If you find out later, will you want to slap yourself twice? I didn't grasp this opportunity today. If so, I can slap 2 more times, and by the way, I will add the few I want to slap. So, Xinran, think about me again. As long as I attract this Shenhao to join the shares, then I will also be a generation of Shenhao in the future. The money will be spent on you, and you can buy whatever you want. After listening to Zhang Yi's words, Su Xinran now not only wanted to slap Zhang Yi, but Tima directly wanted to slap herself twice. What kind of luck in this life, I actually met Zhang Yi. If God gives her a chance to reincarnate, she would rather not have the identity of this rich daughter, and just ask God not to let her know Zhang Yi. Until now, I don't know that the Shenhao I want to win is right in front of me, and there is still a generation of Shenhao. I'm afraid that Shenhao's can't be touched. I'm not interested in a generation of gods. I'm sorry, for your dream of gods, grow your brains, come on. Su Xinran smiled at Zhang Yi, and this smile was just to make fun of his pig brain. Li Yan on the side also showed a satisfied smile. The two got into a Ferrari luxury car and left, leaving Zhang Yi alone to stay at the door of the restaurant. Looking at the Ferrari sports car that was speeding away, Zhang Yi's heart was like a knife, but he could only stare blankly at the Ferrari sports car that had long disappeared and burst into tears. And in the sports car, after Zhang Yi's words just now, Li Yan also realized that that place had been targeted by too many people. From this point of view, it was necessary to change places, and the desire to buy a villa became stronger and stronger. Your family is in real estate, right? Any good recommendations? Li Yan thought about it and remembered that Su Xinran mentioned that her family was engaged in real estate, and she was quite famous in Huaxia. Seeing that she understood the villa in the restaurant, she asked her to go to see a villa with her. In the past, the economy was not well off, and if you buy a suite, you must have to spend a few years of hard work to be able to mortgage only one house, let alone a villa. And now the soft sister coin in my hand is estimated to be spent in the next life, so I don't enjoy it now, keep it and wait for death. And the place where Li Yan lives has now been targeted by many people. He doesn't want to go out every day like a star, covering himself in various ways to prevent being caught by the paparazzi. Talking about horror is like a rat that can't see the light. Of course, it wasn't so scary, he just wanted to be quiet. Think about it, I felt a little bored when I heard from Zhang Yi this morning that all the presidents of the major banks were blocked downstairs in his community. Well, then I think you can go to the East Ring high-end villa area. The villas there are quite good, and the environmental security is very good in all aspects. The main thing is that it is very quiet. Su Xinran thought about it carefully and replied. Then the two went to the East Ring villa area. I have to say that it is very convenient to have a car, and having Su Xinran by Li Yan's side these days has helped him reduce a lot of unnecessary trouble. The Ferrari drove along the Shangzhong restaurant and soon arrived at the East Ring villa area. After getting off the bus, a gate of gold coin splendor came into view. It is worthy of a high-end villa area, and even the gate is so atmospheric. Walk through the door and come to the lobby of the villa purchase and sales department. At this time, a sales lady stepped forward. Hello and welcome, to inside, please. The young and beautiful sales lady stepped forward to lead the way and came to the reference area for the details of the real estate. In addition to Li Yin and the two in the hall, there is also a couple looking at the villa. Don't you know how to pour a glass of water for these two distinguished guests? Look at his godly outfit, such a poor ghost, can he afford our villa here? I'm afraid he can't afford a toilet. You're afraid that one day you're going crazy about performance, and by the way, everyone wants to hug your thighs. It was another sales lady in the hall who spoke. It looks much more sophisticated than the shy salesman who led the way. She is a senior salesperson in the sales department, and the villas sold out every year are the most among all employees, and the year-end bonus is soft. She was yelling at the new sales lady just now. And by the honored guests she is referring to a young couple she is serving. At a glance, the couple looked like rich people. The woman was wearing a mink coat, holding a mobile phone and taking selfies everywhere to post on Moments. The man was wearing a dress marked with the obvious Highland House brand logo. Obviously, apart from the couple, only Li Yan and Su Xinran were left in the hall. And the poor ghost in the mouth of this senior salesman is Li Yi. Since Li Yi was the first to enter the hall, when she saw someone coming in and was about to come forward to welcome her, after weighing Li Yin's clothes up and down, she turned her head back and continued to greet the couple. So much so that when she saw Su Xinran coming in and walking up to Li Yin, she felt that Li Yin was wearing such shabby, and the two were together, so Su Xinran might not have found the counterfeit clothes from somewhere. So she didn't pay attention to Li Yan and Su Xinran, and even the novice salesman came forward to welcome them. She felt that she was just wasting time. However, the shy newbie salesman didn't pay attention to her, saying she was used to it. But there is no way, others take the first place in performance every year, and if you want to do it, you can only swallow your anger. And everyone who came was a guest. She didn't listen this time, and continued to greet Li Yan and Su Xinran. Let the senior salesman speak coldly. Yes, you can't afford it. How much money can you have in this villa? Su Xinran walked forward with light steps, touched the villa model in the sand table, and said in a soft tone. Ha ha ha, I've seen a lot of people like you who wear fake name tags everywhere for a day. Look twice, come in and take 2 photos, and pretend that you can't afford to buy flashes, and then show off in a mess in the circle of friends. How much is it back? Looking at the two of you like this, it is estimated that you will not be able to afford a toilet in our villa for the rest of your life. Ha ha ha. Our villa will cost at least $5, and if you have $1 on your 2 bodies, I will roll up the cover and leave, laughing to death. The senior salesman hovered his hands over his chest and said with a proud mockery. At this time, the couple standing on the side looked at each other when they heard the salesperson talk about fake brand name clothes and the price of villas that cost at least 5 yuan. Coughing lightly twice, their legs kept trembling, trying their best to hide the weakness and uneasiness in their hearts. No matter how much they hide it, they can't escape Su Xinran's eyes. In fact, as early as when she entered the hall door, Su Xinran noticed the two of them. Also mink coats. The pattern of natural mink is very natural, irregular, and the hair is not light. The pattern of the fake mink coat feels stiff. Although I didn't touch the mink coat that the girl was wearing, I could see that it was not smooth at all. And judging from the girl's actions, it was very uncomfortable to wear that mink coat, like wearing a stiff vest. The boys' clothes from Highland House are even more fake. The collar of the genuine Highland House has a bumpy feeling, and the one on his body is obviously ordinary and flat. In addition, the clothes of Highland House have a fresh and elegant atmosphere. However, Su Xinran smelled a very pungent smell from a long distance, and almost choked her to death. In a Su Xinran, who changes different brands at will every day, she can tell the truth at a glance. Sample, pretending in front of the real eldest sister, you are still a little tender. Su Xinran couldn't help but sigh. But she didn't debunk the couple, and she had to wait to see the senior salesman's show. The customer who has been doing his best and respecting and greeting in every way turned out to be a fake local tyrant. Ha ha ha, I feel ridiculous when I think about it. We have a villa for $5 here, and just the cheapest can scare you to death. The most expensive set is astronomical for you two poor people who can't even make up a penny. It costs more than 20 yuan, a natural sea view villa. I guess you have never heard of it, so let alone seen it. Look at us, our 2 distinguished guests, and see what other people are wearing, and a single piece of clothing will buy you for a lifetime. The Sea View house is a real easy taker for them, and if you are willing to kneel down and beg them, you may be lucky enough to see what the Sea View villa looks like in this life. The senior salesman mocked Li Yin and Su Xinran, and at the same time did not forget to pat the couple's ass. Looked at Li Yan and Su Xinran with disgust, and continued to speak coldly. Let the fake local tyrant couple who stayed next to her eager to find a crack in the ground to get into. For $1, you'll roll up and leave, right? I don't need the 2 of us, I'll just have one. Su Xinran took off the Gucci designer bag that was slung cross-body over her shoulder, unzipped it, and prepared to take the only $1 of cash from the bag. She couldn't stand the smugness of the salesman. I just want to hit her hard on the spot, so that she can open her eyes and see what bullshit she is talking about. Unzipping the Gucci designer bag, Su Xinran took out her wallet and was about to take out the money. Li Yan stepped forward and grabbed her little hand that was about to be put into her purse and whispered in her ear. Don't move, let me come. This made Su Xinran's ears and delicate little face instantly red. At this time, the salesman saw it and immediately began to laugh. Ouch, I'm laughing to death, you two little turtles, I thought I could really come up with $1 to get me out. After looking at Sushinran, he continued. Look at it, this one, the face is as red as a monkey's buttocks, you must have opened the bag and saw nothing, and you are embarrassed. Ha 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 ha. The salesman squatted on the ground directly with her stomach in her hands, laughing so much that she couldn't stand up for a while. Made the fake local tyrant couple on the side can't help but cover their mouths with their hands and laugh. Felt that Li Yan and Sushinran were simply embarrassed by the coercion they pretended. Although they are fake, they are all the same pretend, and they have never been so ashamed. I want all the villas here, and besides, it's in her order. Li Yan raised his eyebrows, then pointed his finger at the novice salesman who showed him and Sushinran the way just now, and then said. There was a sudden silence in the hall. The fake local tyrant couple, the senior salesman, and the novice salesman pointed to Li Yan all stared at Li Yan with dead eyes. Including Sushinran, they were all frightened by Li Yan's words. After the air was still for a few seconds, the senior salesman and the fake local tyrant couple laughed and rolled on the ground. They all think that Li Yan is better at pretending than Sushinran, and Sushinran just said that he would take $1. And Li Yan directly asked for all the villas here. Here no, it's all on your head, you're going to take a big order, you're going to get rich, ha 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 ha. Then the senior salesman gasped, but still couldn't help her cheeks that wanted to laugh maniacally. Then he laughed and said mockingly to another salesman. The novice salesman didn't hear the taunts from her superiors at this time, she just looked at Li Yan with blank eyes. Whether it's fake or real, it's the first time since she started selling that she has heard a customer who comes in to buy a house specify herself. Usually it is his superior, that is, the senior salesman who is bullying to take these orders. She has just graduated from college and has just entered the society, and she is still relatively shy, and she does not have the eloquent mouth of her superiors. And usually, even if there are customers, the superiors will not let themselves have the opportunity to insert at all. Therefore, as a result, I worked for more than half a year and had no performance. Li Yan's words are not just an inconspicuous word for her. It is a great encouragement for her in her working life. So when Li Yan said this, her tears of excitement almost fell. Sushinran swallowed a mouthful of water, put the wallet in the Gucci designer bag, and continued to carry the bag crossbody over her shoulder. Gripped the chain of the bag tightly with both hands. Xiao Xiaobu slowly approached Li Yan, making the two people who were already closer to each other. Sushinran gently moved her elbow and put her hands in her trouser pockets. Why are you buying so much? She felt that it was almost difficult to breathe. Li Yan had saved so much money into the bank, how could she have so much money to buy all the villas here? The cheapest set of $5 bills is good to say, and you can easily get it. But just now I heard the salesman say that the most expensive is the Seaview Villa, but it costs more than 20 yuan. If she relied on her own home, she could have bought the Seaview Villa, but it was impossible for her to do it alone. And Li Yong still wants all the villas here have not been sold, and there are almost a dozen sets of them all. Without $100 or $200, you can't take all the villas at all. Sushinran hurriedly signaled to Li Yin, his money was all deposited in the bank, and now he couldn't take out such a large astronomical sum. Li Yan just said indifferently, it's okay, it's within my budget. When Sushinran heard this, she was almost worried to death. This is a huge amount of money of more than 100 days, Li Yan doesn't know what he is talking about. Then Sushinran just shook her head and walked outside the hall. Take out your latest iPhone. I dialed my dad's phone. Hey Dad. What's the matter, my eldest daughter, is she short of money again? It's probably a bit too much this time, eh? 1 or 200. So much. What are you doing here? I can only give you a maximum of 100 with the liquidity I have. Don't worry, Dad. I'll take it. Okay, I'm a little busy right now, hang up first. Before Sushinran finished speaking, Sudong hung up the phone. Sushinran rarely asks her family for money, and she is also preparing to start her own business. Unless it's a pinch. This was the first time she had asked for so much money from her family, but she also swore secretly in her heart that it would be the last time. You have to rely on your own hands to fight for everything you want. After the call, Sushinran received the arrival message from the bank card and let out a long sigh. She thought that Li Yan's money had been deposited in the bank, and she was worried that he would not be able to step down for a while, so she wanted to mention holding up an umbrella for him. Then he entered the hall and walked to Li Yan's side. After the senior salesman laughed wildly, he took a deep breath, and then slowly picked up the POS machine and walked to Li Yan. Leaning on the model sand table with his right hand, he held the POS machine in his left hand high in front of Li Yan's eyes. "Come, Rich, a total of 178 soft girl coins, do you swipe your card or cash?" The corners of his mouth that were about to be tense seemed to be ready to laugh at Li Yan for a while. She has worked in the sales industry for more than 10 years, and has only received the only time a customer has purchased 2 villas at one time. And it's just a small villa. The person in front of him, who didn't know the height of the sky, actually pretended to say that he wanted all the villas in this area. She has seen pretending to be compared, but she has never seen someone pretending to be like Li Yan. In the future, I will definitely see someone who will talk about this great god of the pretending world I met today. Thinking of this, the corners of her mouth had already begun to rise. Li Yan saw the salesman's ugly face, but the corners of his mouth were tilted upward, and he snorted coldly. I pulled a bank card out of my fart bag. Insert the bank card into the card slot of the POS machine carelessly. At this time, Su Xinran took out her bank card from the card bag and was about to step forward to relieve Li Yan. But it was too late. I saw the bank card in Li Yan's hand slowly swipe through the card slot of the POS machine. At this point, the air seemed to be still. And the salesman couldn't help but squint his eyes and laugh wildly at this time. Phew! Li Yan's bank card was swiped over the POS machine. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds passed, and the cashier did not hear any information about the arrival of the payment. At this time, the salesman and the fake tyrant couple laughed wildly together, and the whole hall was filled with their laughter. Su Xinran covered her hands in front of her eyes. If she had taken the card earlier, the scene would not have been so embarrassing, but Li Yan's hand speed was too fast, so she hadn't reacted at all. That's where these awkward scenes happen. This is really a large-scale social death scene. Although there are only 100 soft sister coins in his card, it is not enough to pay for the purchase of all the villas that Li Yan wants. But it's much better than the embarrassing scene now. At this moment, a mechanical voice sounded in front of the cash register behind the salesman. Ding! Qianlong Bank has received 178 yuan. Su Xinran slowly put down the hand covering her eyes. Staring at the arrival reminder machine on the cash register, a large line of words surrounds the top of your head. What? You have the ability to ring again. She hurriedly swallowed several mouthfuls of air, only to feel the silence of the audience. I only felt my pounding heart and the crisp and piercing collection of 178 yuan. At this time, her mind was blank, and only the astronomical figure of 178 yuan came to mind. I still wanted to hold up an umbrella for Li Yan, but I didn't expect to be a clown. Now I'm glad I didn't take out my bank card with only 100 bills, otherwise I would have to congratulate myself on mentioning a private social death scene exclusive to me. But she felt a little strange that Li Yan had deposited more than 600 huge sums of money into the bank. Why is there still money? What level of god-heroic monster is this? Looking back, when we first met, I didn't deposit the 300 huge sum of money taken out by Li Yan in the Phil restaurant, but he didn't deposit it in the bank. It's been kept at home, so it stands to reason that there isn't so much money on me at all. Besides, the bank card that Li Yan took out just now was not the kind of bank card he made when he deposited money with his best friend Su Ling. It's too much to hide. The one who returned the horse was found out of the fart bag, not to mention how much money was in the card for the time being. But taking the 178 that was paid out, it's already an astronomical amount, okay. Just casually fart in the bag. If it falls off and disappears, will he just be like the hundreds who didn't see him at home before, and pass with a light sentence? The more Su Xinran thought about it, the more she felt panicked in her chest, and she wanted to take a deep breath to relieve it, but now it seems that her breathing has become a little unsmooth. The salesman was still laughing wildly and heard the sound of the payment being received. The head slowly turned to the cash register behind him. The smile on his face began to stiffen. The right hand that was propped up on the sand table of the model suddenly did not hold it steady, and slipped off the sand table. With a bang, he fell to the ground, and the expensive POS machine on his left side also fell to the ground, and he fell to pieces. At this time, she no longer cares about spending nearly 2 months of her salary to compensate for this sparse POS machine. I quickly got up from the ground, ran to the cash register, picked up the machine that reminded me of the arrival, and patted it vigorously. She couldn't believe the sound she had just heard. Firmly believing that the machinery must have broken down, he hurriedly picked up his mobile phone and hurriedly called people to repair it. But she knew very well in her heart that this machine had not broken down at all, and the huge sum of 178 paid by Li Yan was also a fact. She suddenly didn't know what to do. Holding the mechanical machine that received the payment, he knelt on the ground and cried. On the other side, when he heard that the newcomer had received 178 yuan, he turned his little finger in his ear. After making sure that he had heard correctly, he recalled that Li Yan said that all the orders were attributed to his head. If you calculate it in this way, wouldn't the performance and share be an astronomical figure? Oh my God, what kind of virtue can I be, since God let myself meet such a noble person? Then the beautiful newcomer salesman stepped forward and said tremblingly, Please. You. Guide them to the adjacent lounge and take their seats, ready to sign the purchase contract. At this time, the senior salesman, who was kneeling on the ground and still crying, pulled out his sleeve and quickly wiped the tears off his face. Then he got up and straightened his messy clothes, adjusted his state, forced his stiff cheeks and smiled, and then quickly ran in front of Li Yan and Su Xinran. So much so that the rookie salesman who led the way for the two of them in front knocked him aside. She also did it on purpose, and the best performance was obviously obtained by stealing life in the hands of others. Sir, madam, I'm sorry for what I just did, she's new here and doesn't understand a lot of things. In order to bring you a better buying experience, let me serve you. The senior salesman glanced at the rookie salesman who was lying on the ground. Then he cheekily said to Li Yi, It's as if what just happened simply doesn't exist at all. Keep working as usual. Selective amnesia, right? Li Yan hates this kind of person the most in his life, how can he let her go? Are you all right? Su Xinran stepped forward to help the newcomer salesman who fell to the ground up, and asked in a soft tone. The rookie salesman also shook his head and said that it was not a big deal. Who just said that if you take out $1, you will flash people? I will take out more than 100 times more than the dollar you mentioned, why don't you flash people? Give you 2 seconds, get out of here. Li Yi raised his eyebrows, first asked the salesman in a weird manner, and then immediately changed his attitude. He scolded loudly. Then the senior salesman rolled out of the hall in fright, and automatically handed in his resignation. Because she knows that even if she doesn't hand in her resignation report, because of Li Yan's words, she won't leave herself for the sake of working hard for the company for so many years. It's better to be self-conscious. And the couple who pretended to be in the hall at the beginning, after hearing that Li Yan had paid a huge amount of money, they were scared and ran away. Thank you, life-saving benefactor. My name is Don Jr., you can call me Sugar Candy. The rookie salesman slowly released the arm that Su Xinran was holding and began to introduce himself to Li Yin. Su Xinran stared at Xiao Tang with a confused expression. Poof, my savior. Who lifted her? Also Sugar. Su Xinran had a bad premonition in addition to being a little inexplicable. This little Tang won't like Li Yan. Think about it, who is not moved by such a handsome guy? And he is so arrogant. I didn't dare to let Li Yan call himself so intimately, this Xiao Tang was inevitably a little popular. At the beginning, Su Xinran had a good impression of Xiao Tang's salesman, but now it seems that this is not a naked white lotus. If I knew that I wouldn't help her, I should have let her get up from the ground by herself. A thank you didn't forget it, but now there is another rival. Although Xiao Tang is not as good as himself, how can such a low-key person as Li Yan value these vulgar faces, figures, including family backgrounds? So for Su Xinran, she felt a sense of crisis. And I don't know what style Li Yi likes. Forget it, it's useless to think so much, just wait and see. Mr. Li, then I'll take you to see the villa first. By the way, this young lady is your girlfriend. The salesman Xiao Tang looked at Li Yan with an infatuated expression, and then glanced at Su Xinran beside him and continued. Sure enough, just as Su Xinran thought, she had other ideas about the handsome guy Li Yan in front of her. Li Yan bought so many villas at once, and they were all recorded on her head, and the performance share was enough for her to make a lot of money. When she saw such a bold Li Yan, she was not bad, although she couldn't compare with Su Xinran. But if he can turn an ugly duckling into a white swan and strive to become Li Yan's girlfriend, then what is this performance commission? Wouldn't it be a phoenix to fly on the branches? So I want to work hard for myself once. If it doesn't work, then the performance commission will still be in hand, and I won't end up empty-handed. The salesman had a wishful thinking in his heart. That's why I cautiously asked about the relationship between Li Yan and Su Xinran. Because she knows that if it weren't for a couple, then she might have a little chance. If it's a couple, then it's just dispelling this idea. After all, he can't compare to Su Xinran at all, one is in the sky and the other is underground. When Li Yan heard the salesman Xiao Tang's words, he looked confused and immediately explained, No, she is my friend. Hearing Li Yi's answer, Su Xinran couldn't help but feel a little cold in her heart. Did you just say it without hesitation? Doesn't Li Yan have even the slightest affection for himself except for his friends? Usually, if others can't resist their beauty and excellence, they will like themselves. Even if you hesitate for a while, it's good in your heart. On the other side, the salesman Xiao Tang was particularly excited. It turns out that Su Xinran and Li Yan are not a couple, which means that they can have the opportunity to pursue Li Yan with confidence. The two followed the salesman Xiao Tang and began to visit the villa area. Li Yang's most curious thing is, of course, the sky-high price of the Seaview Villa for others. Let the salesman Xiao Tang lead the way to see the Seaview Villa first. After a few minutes of travel, the Ferrari luxury car finally arrived at the location of the Seaview Villa. The salesman Xiao Tang walked beside Li Yan and began to introduce the Seaview Villa. Mr. Li, you see, this is a relatively private villa with a sea view, which is located on the beautiful CTE coast. Amazing view of the infinite sea. Come, please move over here. It consists of a courtyard, an indoor and outdoor shared pool, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms and an open kitchen. Elegantly decorated, full of elegant and luxurious decorative objects. The interior of the villa is exceptionally comfortable. It will make you feel like you are in paradise. In addition, there is a large terrace where you can enjoy the cool sea breeze while standing on the terrace in the summer. If you bring your partner in the future, you can see countless stars shining in the sky and the endless expanse of the sea to accompany you. Isn't it romantic to think about it? The salesman Xiao Tang got closer and closer to Li Yi while introducing, and he almost didn't rub into his arms. The romantic scene of the two people in his mouth is actually integrating himself into it. Seeing this, Su Xinran immediately stepped forward and crossed between Li Yi and the sales Xiao Tang, pushing the sales Xiao Tang far away. Xiao Tang, are you going to sell a house or a person? Su Xinran said in a weird manner. It's really excessive, it's not enough to make a high profit, and I want to take advantage of Li Yi, he will be my person in the future. The toad still wants to eat swan meat. As long as I am here, I think of beauty. Li Yan too, why don't you wear a little defense, don't you know that you are very handsome? Su Xinran pursed her lips and muttered silently on the side. However, Li Yan didn't notice this, just quietly listened to the introduction of sales Xiao Tang, and then enjoyed the unique scenery inside and outside the villa. And there are so many girls who pursue him, and he can't raise any interest in the sales Xiao Tang in front of him. Looking at the villa in front of him, Li Yan showed a satisfied smile. Li Yan had thought before that when he had money in the future, he would definitely buy a villa of this style. Then I lived in it every day and felt this happy life leisurely. It would be nice to think about it before, because before the price of goods depreciated, if he wanted to buy such a seaview villa with his little salary. With him now in his 20s, he has to struggle until he is 50 or 60 years old to be able to buy such a seaview villa. So now the seaview villa in front of him can be said to be not much different from what he once fantasized, so he is very satisfied. Subsequently, the salesman Xiao Tang was very dissatisfied with Su Xinran pushing her and Li Yan away. So she is ready to start attacking Li Yi directly and straight to the point. Mr. Li, I know that today is the first time we have met, and it may be a bit abrupt to say this now. But I really like you, can you give me a chance to pursue you? Sales Xiao Tang mustered up the courage of his life, took a deep breath, and quickly said this sentence to Li Yi. Although she knows that she is so ordinary that she can't be more ordinary, and in the face of a handsome and tyrant like Li Yi, her chance of success may be 1 in 10,000. Or maybe you don't have that opportunity. But so what? Sometimes if you want to do something, if you just want to do it, there is a 1 in 10,000 chance that you don't have it. It's better to fight directly. Bo-e-ba, what if the 1 in 10,000 chance happens to you? Isn't it a bicycle becoming a motorcycle? The sudden attack of Sales Xiaotang's sentence directly made Su Xinran confused. This Sales Xiaotang really dares to say. I have always liked Li Yi silently, and even the words that were accidentally said by Zhang Yiqi in the Supreme Restaurant last time racked my brains to think about how to get back. I'm afraid that because of this, Li Yan will avoid him. This is the first time she has met, so bold. But it's normal to think about it. At first glance, Xiaotang didn't really like Li Yi, he just took a fancy to Li Yi's money. It doesn't matter what kind of face or other inner excellence at all. If you change to a person who is not good-looking, her character is not good in these things, but she is a person who has brushed so many achievements with her like Li Yin, and is such a tyrant. Then she must be the same as she is today. This kind of money worshipper, Su Xinran clearly remembers that Li Yin talked to herself about the story of him and his ex-girlfriend Zhao Xia. At the beginning, Zhao Xia betrayed Li Yan because of her special money worship. If that's the case, the salesman Xiaotang will be out of play. But if Li Yi is disgusted, then she doesn't want this big performance commission. And Li Yan counted these as her performance commissions, which was entirely because it was not easy to see her, and because of the senior salesman. Shouldn't she think that Li Yi has a little bit of interest in her because of these? And then he had the audacity to say such a thing. Su Xinran thought silently in her heart, and then couldn't help but laugh. But she is also very worried at the moment, and can't wait to know how Li Yan will answer this Sales Xiaotang's confession. After all, Li Yan is not as able to read a complex animal as a woman like himself. I don't know that this seemingly shy salesman Xiaotang is actually a white lotus who worships gold. The truth that women understand women better is not just talking. Okay, you don't need to look at the other villas, you go and get the contract, and you can leave after I sign it. When Li Yan faced the salesman Xiaotang's sudden confession, his face was flat and not a little surprised. In the face of this confession of something similar, he said that he was numb. In the past, when I was studying or going to work, I would receive 1 or 2 different confession letters a day. So for someone to like themselves, it's like a normal routine. When the salesman Xiaotang heard Li Yi answer like this, no matter how smart he was, he knew what it meant. Without too many words, he quickly ran to get the purchase contract. At this time, Li Yan obviously rejected himself. If he continued to talk shamelessly, it would be bad to make Li Yang unhappy. At that time, not only will he not pursue Li Yan's opportunity, but he will also be far away from his sales performance if he can't do it. That's the real emptiness of people and money. It's not cost-effective to be straightforward and proper. It's better to take it when you see it. After the salesman Xiaotang brought the purchase contract, Li carefully read the contents of the contract, and then signed his name on it. Seeing the name signed by Li Yan on the contract, the salesman Xiaotang picked up the contract and left quickly. At this time, Su Xinran looked at Li Yan stupidly on the side. The ups and downs of the mood suddenly relaxed. Although she had a 99% probability in her heart at the beginning, she told herself that Li Yan would definitely not agree. But there is still that 1% of concerns. Now the heavy stone of worry in my heart has finally fallen. He smiled for the first time in a long time. Now that the new residence has been completed, Li Yan thinks that he has to go to the supermarket to buy some furniture for the villa in the future. In the past, there was no opportunity to cook at home, so there was not much furniture in the former residence. Su Xinran also happened to say to Li Yan at this time, "The last time I went to your house, I didn't see much furniture in your kitchen. Why don't I accompany you to the supermarket to buy some? It's fake that I want to buy something, but it's true that I want to accompany Li Yi." The corners of Li Yan's mouth rose when he heard this, smiled and said yes. Looking at Su Xinran in front of him, Li Yan felt quite interesting. He actually knew what he was thinking. This is the legendary heart of the rhino. Come to the door of the supermarket. Su Xinran stepped forward first and pushed the trolley. Entering the supermarket, Li Yi began to choose a variety of furniture and daily necessities. Su Xinran carefully put Li Ying's fancy in the shopping cart on the side. He also analyzed the pros and cons of the purchased goods with Li Yi. Soon the two of them bought everything they needed. Hop into a Ferrari supercar and take all your purchases back to your ocean view villa. After some tossing. It's past 7 o'clock in the evening. Li Yan felt a little tired after a day of running, and Su Xinran was no exception. However, due to the fact that many things in the villa have not been cleaned, and the bedding has not been laid, there is no way to rest at all. Now the exhausted two don't have the heart to clean up. Or, if you don't suggest it, go to my house and rest for the night. And then I'll clean up with you tomorrow. Su Xinran said ecstatically. After all, there is no other ready-made and better way than to go to her house to rest now. Could it be that Chengdu is like this, and Li Yi will refuse? It's a pity that things didn't go the way Su Xinran thought. Li Yan refused. For him, he used to rent a house because he didn't have any money, but now he has bought his own residence, and he doesn't want to go to the fence anymore. Even if it's for one night. Besides, there is no special relationship with Su Xinran, and they are alone and widowed in the same room. This is also a bad influence on Su Xinran, a girl. Now if I go back to my old residence, I am worried that there will be a large group of people downstairs in the community who are ready to make sycophants. He didn't have time to pay attention to those people. I just want to get a good night's sleep. So I decided to put the sofa out for the first night, and then lay down on the sofa for the rest of the night. Su Xinran saw that Li Yan decisively refused, and did not continue to say too much, but just reminded Li Yan to cover the quilt at night to avoid catching a cold. Then come over early tomorrow morning and clean up with him. After Su Xinran finished speaking, she regretfully left the Seaview Villa. For her, she lost a chance to live with Li Yin. Li Yan casually tidied up the things on the sofa and took out a blanket that was not thin or thick. Then put the pillow behind his head, put the blanket over his body and fell into a sweet sleep. Early the next morning. The sea breeze blowing outside the floor-to-ceiling window woke Li Yan up at once. He got up and went to the terrace. Take a deep breath of fresh air blowing from the seaside. It's really heartwarming. Li Yan stood on the terrace and blew the cool morning breeze for a while, and then prepared to go to the bathroom to take a shower, and then prepared to go out for breakfast. Come back and clean up this mess of the Seaview Villa. Ding dong. Li Yan, who came out of the bathroom after washing, heard the doorbell, so he stepped forward and saw Su Xinran standing outside the door in the surveillance camera screen by the door. I looked at the time on my phone again. It's only 7:30 in the morning. Su Xinran came so early. If you want to help with cleaning, you don't need to be so active. Then Li Yan opened the door of the villa and walked to the bathroom to dry his wet hair. After Su Xinran came in, she neatly placed all the rich breakfast she had just bought on the table. Then happily waited for Li Yi to take care of it and enjoy this hot and fragrant breakfast with himself. Li Yi walked out of the bathroom after drying his hair. I was about to ask Su Xinran if she had breakfast, and if she didn't, she would go out for breakfast with herself and then come back to clean up. Then you can see a rich and hot breakfast on the table. There was milk, sandwiches, eggs. And Su Xinran, who was sitting on the side of the restaurant. She is wearing a soft light-colored off-the-shoulder sundress today, which looks more gentle and pure. So much so that Li Yan almost fell in. Hurry up and have breakfast, guess you haven't had breakfast yet. Su Xinran smiled and said extremely gently. Then Li Yan moved out of the chair next to the dining table and sat opposite Su Xinran. The two of them began to enjoy a delicious breakfast together. This warm feeling made Su Xinran happily close her mouth when she had breakfast. Being able to have breakfast with the person she likes is the happiest thing in her life. After eating breakfast, Su Xinran quickly cleaned the dining table. Where do we start cleaning today? By the way, this Seaview Villa is quite large. I asked my driver to go to the housekeeping company in advance and find a few people to come and help clean up. If you don't suggest it, I'll call now and ask the driver to inform them to come. Su Xinran's tone was calm and said with some concern. Because she was afraid that her approach would make Li Yan unhappy, she asked Li Yan's opinion. If he doesn't want to, then call and tell the housekeepers not to come. Well, it's okay, let them come. Li Yan thought about it, too, and let him and Su Xinran clean such a large villa area, so they had to clean it until the year of the monkey. And he also believes that the person Su Xinran is looking for must be reliable. agreed with Su Xinran's idea. But he didn't want anyone else to clean his own bedroom, so he decided to clean it himself. Just as he was about to leave, he received a call from his good brother Chen Xianlin. "Hey, Lao Li, I was dumped by Xiaojia, and she ran with a rich second generation." Li Yan was immediately surprised when he heard what Chen Xianlin said when he choked up. This Chen Xianlin is a friend he met in college. Every time Li Yan encountered something tricky, he was always the first to stand up and help Li Yan. Regardless of whether he is right or wrong, he is unconditionally on Li Yan's side. In college, because Li Yan's academic performance was very good, he was also one of the top students in the school. Coupled with his handsome appearance, it has become the goal pursued by many female students in the university. Because of this, it has attracted the jealousy of many boys. Once, on the way home, Li Yi was targeted by several very jealous boys from the same school. It's just because the girls they like are so obsessed with Li Yan that they don't look at them with their eyes. So several people partnered to discuss and teach Li Yan a lesson. After evening self-study, Li Yi walked home alone after sending off his ex-girlfriend Zhao Xia, who was still dating at the time. The jealous boys saw Li Yan alone, so they went to Li Yan and surrounded him. Seeing this, Li Yan immediately became vigilant. He is usually a person who likes fitness. It stands to reason that if he hangs one or two on the other side, it won't be a problem. But there were 3 or 4 people around him, and he couldn't do it alone. Seeing that the other party was getting closer and closer to him, Li Yan thought to himself that it was a big deal to fight to the death today. So a fierce collision with those 4 people began. At this moment, Chen Xianlin, who was going home and passing through this alley, saw a group of people who were beating, and he was ready to stay away, because even if he wanted to be a good person in this kind of scene, he couldn't do anything about it. In the dimly lit alley, it's impossible to see who is inside. Chen Xianlin was about to turn around and leave when he suddenly heard Li Yan's voice asking what the other party wanted to do. He couldn't believe it until he got closer and took a closer look, and it was really Li Yan surrounded by 4 people. One of them was also holding a baseball bat and preparing to slam it off from his back. Chen Xianlin threw away everything he was carrying without hesitation, and rushed towards Li Yan one by one. Hugged Li Yan tightly from behind. As a result, the stick hit him viciously in the back. Ah. Chen Xianlin endured the pain and then asked Li Yan. "It's okay." The scheming 4 people hurriedly fled when they saw Chen Xianlin's arrival. They knew very well that the reason why the 4 of them joined forces to besiege Li Yan was because Li Yan was not an easy person to deal with. 2 people may not be able to beat Li Yong, who exercises regularly, but if there are 2 more people, Li Yong will almost be unable to take them. Even if the 4 of them together can't beat each other, Li Yan will inevitably suffer some flesh and skin. So even if he risked his life, he wanted to teach Li Yan a lesson. But now there is another Chen Xianlin, and Li Yan has a helper, so they are the ones who will inevitably suffer from flesh and skin. So he fled with a crawl. When the 4 of them fled, one of the unwilling boys also picked up a baseball bat and made up another stick behind Chen Xianlin's back. Blame him for ruining his own good deeds. Li Yan shook his head and said that he was fine. Seeing that Li Yan was fine, Chen Xianlin also smiled reassuringly, and then fainted. In the end, the 4 boys from the same school with ill intentions were expelled from the school. And Li Yi and Chen Xianlin have also become the best brothers. So the 2 can be regarded as friends of life and death. And the Xiaojia in Chen Xianlin's mouth is his girlfriend in college. Zhang Xiaojia and Li Yi's ex-girlfriend Zhao Xia are very good girlfriends. At that time, when Li Yan was still dating Zhao Xia, every time he went out to eat, Chen Xianlin was a kilowatt light bulb. Seeing this, Zhao Xia couldn't bear it, so she introduced her best friend Zhang Xiaojia to Chen Xianlin. Until now, Chen Xianlin and Zhang Xiaojia have been dating for more than 7 years. After Chen Xianlin finished speaking on the other end of the phone, Li Yan couldn't help but sigh. It's really like things gather and people are divided into groups. I have been dating my ex-girlfriend Zhao Xia for the same 7 years, and the final result is that I ran away with the rich second generation like Zhang Xiaojia. Li Yan shook his head and snorted coldly. Chen Xianlin briefly talked to Li Yan on the phone. Invited Li Yan outside, and he invited a guest to find a quiet cafe to tell Li Yan the ins and outs of this matter. I couldn't say a word on the phone. Li Yan looked at Su Xinran on the side and then agreed to Chen Xianlin. Then he hung up the phone and said to Su Xinran embarrassedly, "That. I have something to go out for, or don't I clean it up today? Then I'm sorry for you to run for nothing today." Su Xinran saw that Li Yan seemed to be in a hurry, so she replied, "It's okay, if you have something to do, you can go and get busy first. Anyway, I'm here, and I'll help you clean up with them when the housekeepers arrive. If you don't recommend that I clean your bedroom, I can clean it out for you so you can rest later." After hesitating for a moment, Li Yi nodded, then changed his clothes and went out to the cafe location that Chen Xianlin sent to him. "Young master, our eldest lady has already ordered the little one to wait here and escort you to the place where you want to go safely." As soon as Li Yan came out of the Seaview Villa area, Su Xinran's exclusive driver stepped forward and said. Li Yan smiled with satisfaction. "I have to say that Su Xinran really does everything in an orderly manner." Li Yan got into the Ferrari luxury car arranged by Su Xinran and went to the coffee shop for an appointment. In terms of time, he and Chen Xianlin have not seen each other for a long time. After graduating from college, although the two often made video calls, they couldn't spare extra time to catch up on the old days due to their busy work. "We have to have a good talk when we meet today. Arrive at the cafe." Chen Xianlin ordered Li Yan's favorite latte in advance. "Lao Li, here." Seeing Li Yi's arrival, he hurriedly waved his hand at him. Li Yan saw Chen Xianlin, who was greeting him, and stepped forward to punch a brother in his chest with his fist. "Tell me what's going on." Then he sat on the chair, put his right hand on the table in front of him, tapped his fingers up and down on the table, and asked solemnly. "It's all fine before, Xiaojia proposed to break up with me early this morning. Said that Yiqingjiu bought a villa in her name in the Dongguan Villa area yesterday, and there is no future with me." Chen Xianlin began to explain the ins and outs of the matter, and his eyes began to redden. East Ring Villa. When he talked about the villa area in the East Ring, Li Yan thought that he had heard it wrong, and replied with a puzzled face. He remembers that he also bought a villa yesterday in the East Ring Villa area. And when I bought it at that time, except for other villas that had been sold earlier, all the remaining villas had been purchased by myself. It shouldn't be. Li had an answer in his heart and suddenly poured in. That is, Zhang Xiaojia was deceived by Yiqingjiu, the so-called rich second generation. As for Yiqingjiu, he is a well-known rich second generation in the local area. If you don't do your job all day long, you like to use your rich family background to coax young girls. Especially the kind of girl who already has a boyfriend. Digging into other people's walls is the greatest pleasure for him. This is a bit of a perverted mentality. Although Yiqingjiu's family has money, his parents usually don't have too much pocket money for him. This is also the consequence of his spending all day long eating, drinking, and having fun, and not doing his job. So he didn't have any spare money to buy a so-called villa in the East Ring Villa area. It's all just a trick he uses to trick girls. Just thinking about the white wolf with empty gloves. What's wrong? Do you know the villa in this place? Seeing Li Yan's surprised expression, Chen Xianlin hurriedly asked. Li Yan didn't want to tell Chen Xianlin the news that he had actually become the richest man for the time being. Let him find out for himself, and it seems that he is a little tall to say it like this. Then he took a sip of the latte on the table, and then slowly replied. "Oh, no, it's just that I heard that yesterday there was already a Shenhao who took all the villas in the East Ring Villa district that were not sold. So that Zhang Xiaojia may have been deceived." Chen Xianlin, who heard this, could still do it. He was now only thinking about telling Zhang Xiaojia the news. So that she can change her mind about herself. What? I was deceived. No, Xiaojia is so innocent, I have to tell her about it right away. As he spoke, he picked up his mobile phone and dialed Zhang Xiaojia's phone number. Li Yan just shook his head. This brother of his is good anywhere, why can't his brain turn around? Zhang Xiaojia opened her eyes when she saw money like this. This is obviously a money worshipper. For this kind of money-worshipping girl, in their eyes, the money is never too much, and there is as much as you want. If you see this one rich today, you will follow this one, and tomorrow you will see another one who is richer, and you will immediately split your legs and run with the other. It's like a monkey carrying a bag of grain, moving one and throwing another when he sees a better one. In the end, if you look at your hand again, there is not a single rotten bag of grain cores. Even if she was told this fact, what would she do after she changed her mind? Later, when she met the next rich master, she would not hesitate to shake off the person in front of her, even if it was good to her bones. In her eyes, material things are much more important than affection. Li Yan looked at Chen Xianlin and couldn't help but sigh. Hey, Xiaojia, listen to me first. Yi Qingjuice lied to you. All the villas in the East Ring Villa district have already been bought by a Shenhao. The so-called villa given to you in your name is all fake. After Chen Xianlin dialed the phone, he hurriedly said to Zhang Xiaojia worriedly and excitedly. He was afraid that Zhang Xiaojia, who he thought was simple, would be coaxed by people with bad intentions. Also thinks that Zhang Xiaojia will definitely be excited to return to his side again. Who knew that Zhang Xiaojia, who heard the news, replied in an extremely impatient tone. Chen Xianlin. I tell you not to bother me anymore. I have found my true love. Don't think that if you say that, I'll come back to you again, and Qingju is not that kind of person. Others are a rich second generation. People like you must not understand the concept of buying a villa in full, and warn me again not to bother me, otherwise I will not be polite to you. Zhang Xiaojia hung up the phone after speaking. When Chen Xianlin called back again, he found that the other party had blocked him. And Li Yan, who was silently watching all this from the side, had actually expected such an ending. Someone who already thinks of herself as a phoenix on a branch, and you want to pull her down and tell her it's all fake. How could she possibly believe it?